What's up, guys? It's your host Spartanic Arts DxD back with another What If Naruto Was in High School DxD, and today I'm going to be doing a whole entire movie, just putting together all 7 parts that I've done so far. And don't worry, there will be more than 7 parts. I'm just putting a movie together because it's easier on my computer to do like a movie in the middle and then combine both those movies to make the whole entire series. So the next it'll be complete, but the series is still continuing either way. So hopefully you guys do enjoy this whole entire movie, and I will do like a little bit of timestamps so people can know where part 1, part 2, part 3, you get the point, etc. And without further ado, please enjoy the video and thank you for all the support, and please hit that subscribe and like button for more. And without further ado, let's get into it. What's up, guys? It's your host here, Spartanic Arts DxD, back with another Naruto / High School DxD video. And today we have What If Naruto Was in High School DxD Part 1. So the basis of the story is that Naruto is a gardener in Koe Academy, which is the high school of High School DxD, and here he watches the daily interactions between devils, angels, and fallen angels while trying his best not to get involved, as he left his previous life just to escape this kind of shit, but unfortunately fate does not let him be. So this is God Mode Naruto, and he's also overpowered in the story, so hopefully you guys do enjoy, and without further ado, let's go ahead and roll into Chapter 1. So Chapter 1. Leaves were rustling in the soundless summer evening breeze. A mop of yellow blonde hair was seen in this setting, with a pair of gardening was pruning the plants around Koe Academy with a complete dedication and sincerity. Ah, how good it feels when all those annoying brats leave for home. Seriously, can't those little shits just stay silent while they are here? Naruto was minding his own business, intending to plant life around Koe as part of his job. He had come to this world as he has left his previous one. He lived happily in a fulfilling life here. However, he knew that you have to start running like a bitch if people start to worship you as a god. Seclusion didn't help. Nope. Those bastards always tracked him after a few years of searching, therefore new world it is, he decided. Though now that I think about it, I was being stupid for not laying out the proper coordinates for a world. Well, I guess it didn't help, when I didn't even know where I was going, thought Naruto. Contemplating the past, brat, said a voice in his mind. Well, look who finally decided to wake up. Had a good night's sleep, furball? Fuck you, you little shit. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't even be here. I had to expend nearly 99% of my chakra just so you could pass through dimensions with your full body intact, said the voice to Naruto telepathically. Yeah, he told that in a gajillion times, Kuruma. You told me that a gajillion times, Kuruma. Well, it has been a while since we came here to this world, thought Naruto. He looked at the pine tree before him and thought, now what to do with you, sonny? When Naruto came crashed into this world, he had been completely clueless to where he was as he should be. Duh. He was in the new world. However, his arrival didn't go unnoticed, as he discovered quickly as he felt someone to where he is. He quickly hid himself in a nearby forest and went into sage mode so that he could avoid detection and at the same time detect others. However, it was at this very moment that he found out that this world was about to be fucked up, as the nature was holding plenty of negative emotions. He sweated a lot when he was in sage mode, feeling nature's wrath, and started to fight for control of his mind while purifying the natural energies. When he felt his pursuers leave without finding anything, he left sage mode to find that the surroundings around him had become a little more green with life. He left for the city with the ability of shadow clones. He quickly found a library to take knowledge of this world while he was in. Luckily, the language of the people this world spoke was almost the same as his original world. This accelerated his progress, and thus he crammed his head with all the basic knowledge of this world: history, science, technology, culture, math, religion, mythology, legends, you name it. Once he had enough information about this world, he quickly forged his basic details to survive in this world with the help of some basic genjutsu he learned while he was still in his own world, or he had learned still pursuit for a shinobi to be a Kage. After identity, money became a problem, which was quickly resolved when he saw a newspaper ad that said that a school, which was named after this town called Koe Academy, was hiring some gardeners. It also stated that residential requirements for the workers will be taken care of as long as basic necessities were met. Naruto knew a good deal when he saw one. He ran like the wind towards the school after asking directions from locals. The principal he met was a weird guy, but still gave Naruto the green light and thus commenced Naruto's life as a gardener. It also helped that Naruto wasn't completely clueless idiot when it came to plants, as he was gardening was one of his hobbies aside from his training. There was some bumps here and there at the beginning, but it all came to pass. So 5 years had passed, and then his 128th birthday had come to pass. He still looked like a 28-year-old. He sported a beard on his face, and his shaggy hair had been cut down to make his head look like a trimmed lawn. Naruto's looking Boruto, obviously. However, the most noticeable difference that he sported a huge belly. Naruto looked down to see his appearance inside. Well, that's what happens when you don't get a proper workout. And whose fault is that? Said Kuruma in his head. Well, I can't burn the amount of energy I required to store as you know it. If I work out seriously, then it will start looking suspicious. Besides, there is no need for me to train, whined Naruto, mentally admonishing his old friend. Snorted Kuruma and went back to sleep. Naruto smiled at his friend and looked up at a plan before him. Now then, do this, and do that, and this, thought Naruto while doing his work when a voice interrupted his work. Good evening, said a voice, which sounded like a girl. Ah, Rias, don't interrupt me like that. I could have made a terrible mistake, you know, said Naruto. Sorry. I just couldn't help it, said Rias while giving him a playful grimmer. She was 17 years old and with unusual crimson red hair with a bombshell body. Her hair only heightened her beauty, giving her the title as one of Ko's 2 great onesamas. So how has your day been, dear? Asked Naruto. It is fine, but the history classes were boring as hell, said Rias with a bored look on her face. Haha, so Mr. Yamada bored you to death with his history lessons, did he? Too bad, Squirt. You go to school, you have to suffer, joked Naruto. Rias gave him a deadpan look and said, jackass. Why, you little brat, said Naruto with a mock angry face. Anyways, I have to leave for home now. I'll speak with you tomorrow, Mr. Naruto, said Rias, hurried off. Alright then, take care, said Naruto, resumed doing his work. It has been like this for the past 5 years for Naruto. Ever since he joined Ko as the resident gardener, life has been pretty mundane, with no interesting things popping up. There has been some close calls, obviously, where he had to reveal his secrets, but luck smiled upon him and he didn't have to. He finished off his gardening work as usual in his usual spot, unknown to anyone but him. He sat down and went into sage mode and started purifying nature energy around him. It had been his daily duty for the past 5 years to do this here in whenever he could to restore the plant life and to ease the wrath of nature. When he felt that one place had become too concentrated, he quickly switched off to another one before anyone noticed. Once that was done, his duties in the school were over, thus he was left to his own devices. He strolled around the school when he came into contact with them. Oof. Of course, they are up to it again, aren't they, thought Naruto. Why is it that wherever you go, some kind of pervert always follows you into your life, said Kurama. What can I say, man? I asked these questions myself every time I came to this world, thought Naruto. But still, let's play them for old time's sake. What Naruto noticed was none other than the infamous perverted trio, or Ko had marked them as. So had they come into being called since came to this school the year before. The threesome were laughing purposely while spraying on the kendo club changing clothes. Naruto sneaked up on them and decided to lay a trap by their legs and shouted, "Watch out, girls, peeping Toms over here." Ah, what the son of a... The threesome stepped on a rope and that pulled them up and were immediately caught upside down from a tree with them of hanging from it individually. Man, what the hell, Naruto? Why'd you have to do that? Shouted Issei Hyodo. Not cool, man, not cool, said Motohama. You are gonna get us killed, man. Let us out of here, asked Matsuda. Oh, I am sorry. How many times do I have to tell you not to spy on women in school, and especially in the bushes? You know how many times I got you in trouble just because you three decided to take advantage of me growing thick bushes, said Naruto with fury in his eyes, which made the three falter. Not this time. This time you are going to suffer. Naruto left the place while leaving a note, a Shanghai piece of cloth. The kendo girls who arrived on the scene found the boys tied upside down and find a note. Have fun, girls. This is a surprise present for me. You know what to do with the articles I left behind. The girls knew who gave them this as they figured out from his voice as he shouted, Katsune. The kendo club captain announced, "Alright, girls, we'll be playing Hit the Pervs now. Anyone who can land a solid hit on 3 of them blindfolded will be the ultimate winner. Until then, nobody will unite you." Holy, shouted all 3 of them, but they couldn't complete what the sentence as the game already started. Ah, ouch, yow, not in the balls, ah, my face, ah, my testicles. You will pay for this, Naruto, shouted the 3. However, Naruto already moved on from the school to the town. He was feeling thirsty, so he decided that he would have a drink. He made a stop at an old bar. It was poorly lit with a few customers who were keeping to themselves. He went to the counter and ordered, "Give me some sake, please." "One for me too," said another voice. Naruto turned to seek a sleek and handsome man who looked around 30 and had an unusual brown hair which ended with blonde bangs. "Coming right up," said the bartender before he went back to get some sake. The two men didn't talk and waited for their drinks. Once the bartender arrived with their drinks, they started drinking and quickly finished it off. "Ah, nothing beats a warm sake," said the man. "A hard day's work? Personally, I would have it in a warm bath to the boot," said Naruto while grinning at the man. The man looked at Naruto with a raised eyebrow and grinned. "Well, it seems, my friend, that you and I have very similar tastes." "The name's Azazel," said now that identified Azazel, who gestured his hand forward for a handshake. "Naruto Uzumaki at your service," said Naruto before reciprocating his hand in return. "Fish cake? Your parents must have had a real good liking of ramen," said Azazel while joking about Naruto's name. "It's supposed to mean mushroom, but being named after ramen topping isn't all that bad either. It's food of the gods, I tell you," said Naruto before he realized Azazel's glass with another round of sake. Azazel did the same for Naruto and said, "Well, here's one hoping for a good life. Kanpai." Both of them downed their drinks for some time and talked for a while. They talked more like jabbered while drunk, each telling their woes of working to death. "Well, it's been a wonderful time, Naruto," said drunk Azazel, whose words were slurred due to the alcohol affecting his head. "It has," said Naruto while wondering why Kuruma still hadn't detoxified his system of alcohol downing effects on his brain. However, he didn't complain as he did have a good time with his new pal. "Hick, so as long, hick, I gotta go now. We'll see each other tomorrow," hick, said Azazel, who walked in the opposite direction and called up somebody as far as Naruto could tell. "So long," shouted a drunk Naruto, who took his own time walking around the block before he went back to his quarters on his own by a miracle. He slept like a drunk would and woke up the next morning with a hangover. However, he couldn't help but grin about the evening's passings as he finally found someone who could be a good drinking buddy. However, that baffled him when Kuruma, who had stayed silent the entire evening, finally spoke. "You should be wary of him, Naruto. This man was hiding something." "What do you mean, Kurama?" asked Naruto with a serious look, as Kurama never lied to him and he always trusted the fox. "I don't know what I felt, but whoever he was powerful and at the same time had some mixture of light and dark energy in him. That's why I couldn't detoxify you yesterday," said Kurama. "So, you were afraid that he would detect you, huh?" asked Naruto while understanding why his friend didn't help him last night. Kurama nodded his head and further added, "Though he didn't have any ill intentions when he was speaking to you, I would advise caution in the future." "Agreed," said Naruto, as he was no longer that immature brat he once was. Time and circumstances had matured the blonde. Well, it should have, considering he was well over 100 years old. "Well, I'll keep that in mind while meeting him later tonight," said Naruto. "On a side note, why didn't you do it later after I left?" asked Naruto. "Just too lazy to do it. Besides, I wanted to see you experience a little pain," said Kurama. "Asshole," said Naruto, cutting the link. Naruto once again proceeded with his daily rituals from morning till evening. But the most unusual thing that happened during the past few days was one of the perverts. Issei had come in hand with a girl who had proclaimed his girlfriend. Naruto only looked stumped how Issei could score such a chick in the first place. However, Naruto did notice that the girl in question had ulterior motives by the look in her eyes that gave off all kinds of alarms. He warned a baffled Issei to be careful on what his jolly way. Once again, Naruto met up with Azazel, who invited his new friend / conversation partner / drinking buddy to a table, and once again they drank till late in the night before they had the same type of conversation. "Hick, so long, Fred," hick, said Azazel while trying to control himself. "So long, pal," said Naruto while the words were slurred. He started moving towards Ko while swaying around. The population he met with on the way cursed at him. "Drunken fool! Should put his ass in jail for public nuisance. What a waste." Naruto paid no heed to the populace but made his way to the park near the school. He walked towards one of the benches and began resting on it, assuming that the police should have already patrolled this area. He rested his head on the benches and began to lay down, looking drowsy. However, a noise disturbed his sleep. He woke up from the sound and looked to see who it was. "What the hell was that?" I thought Naruto while still maintaining his jump subpar. He saw Issei on the floor, was bleeding through his chest, which had a huge hole in it. Immediately, Naruto cited the loss of life. He saw the condition Issei was in and knew that he couldn't do anything to help the poor kid. He looked at the person who killed him and immediately recognized to be the girl Issei introduced as his girlfriend this morning. He looked at her and asked, "Hey, why did you kill the poor kid?" asked Naruto with anger evident on his face, but turned out to be a comical as his face showed he was drunk. "Oh, a mortal was hiding, huh? A drunk fool, no less. You are a gardener in this boy's high school, aren't you? You should have slept, fool. Nevertheless, you witnessed something you shouldn't have. Collateral damage, I suppose," said Rainier, who summoned a light spear and threw it at Naruto. Naruto dodged at the incoming light spear with a wavy sidestep. Rainier, surprised that it has formed more light spears, and decided to throw them at Naruto, who dodged them all very professionally in a drunk manner that resembled that like a drunken martial art of Rock Lee. He went forward and gave Rainier a punch to the gut. He said, "Now, you better get out of my sight," said Naruto. "You drunk ape, I'm going to kill you where you stand," said Rainier while moving forward with a summoned light spear. You leave me no choice," said Naruto, slurred Naruto. He gave a sharp knife hand to her heart, effectively killing her. "There goes another one," said Naruto. He then looked back to see Issei, who was missing. He sharpened his eyes and senses for the boy, to look for the boy so that he could bury his body and pay his respects. However, he picked Issei's life signature up at a distance, which he assumed to be his house. However, it was slightly different to what it was before. Well, all that matters is that the kid's alive, thought Naruto when he moved onward to his Jonaika. "You always get involved in some deep shit, you know," said Kurama. "Kurama, my friend, here, come give me a hug, you know," said Naruto, moving into his hug for his friend in his mindscape. "Get off me, you drunk ape. Hold still while I take this alcohol out of your system." "Thanks," said Naruto, and started to move much better and was able to form coherent thoughts much more easily than before. Still, it has been a rough night. Wonder what's in store for tomorrow, he thought. Better have some of that Ichiraku's I sealed off, thought Naruto while moving away from the apparent murder spot, but noticing a string of red hair that caught in his shoes. That's the end of chapter 1, or part 1. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, leave a comment, like, and subscribe for more. Hopefully this hits over 100 likes, and I'll continue it. So without further ado, again, please subscribe. This takes forever to do. And again, without further ado, peace. What's up, guys? It's your host here, Naruto DxD, back with another What If Naruto Was in High School DxD Part 2. So before we start the video, please like and subscribe. It helps your boy out. And without further ado, let's go ahead and roll into it. So, Chapter 2. Naruto is singing Radioactive in his head. I'm waking up to ash and dust. Was it weird to have a song like this as your alarm on your phone? No. At least for Naruto, it wasn't. The song was still going on in the background when Naruto switched it off. He woke up to see the time on his phone. It showed it was around 5 a.m. in the morning. He got out of his bed, did some stretches, all while contemplating what happened yesterday. Good thing that he didn't have a major hangover like yesterday, as Kurama deemed it fit to detoxify him early on. I knew that there was something fishy going on in this world, but I was never interested in it. Now, why is that trouble always seem to find me when I don't want to? I thought Naruto while whining mentally about his dilemma. "So you have decided to finally confront that redhead you hang out with then?" asked Kurama telepathically. "Nah, who cares? Rias may be involved in this mess, but that doesn't give me enough inclination to be involved in it too," said Naruto. "What do you plan to do then? Execute Plan GTFO?" asked Kurama. Naruto responded out loud, sipping out of his cup of morning milk. "What? No. Let it be known that Naruto Uzumaki ain't a scaredy-ass bitch. If trouble wants to find me, then let it do so." "Your call, brat," said Kurama, disconnecting the link between them. Naruto then thought about what Kurama said about Rias. He knew that something was off about Rias and her little playmates in the Occult Research Club. He can sense that whatever they were definitely not human, as judging by the weird energy they wielded. It was not something common among all humans in the world, as he'd seen so far. The little girl, the little group of girls group called Konako Toju, the little girl called Konako Toju even had chakra, which surprised him. He had been nearly caught many times by the little minx whenever he used senjutsu near the school, when it led him to believe that she was some kind of censor. So he always taken the precaution of using senjutsu in and near his area only after he believed that she was out of range. He was now thinking about what to do, as he wanted to continue his peaceful life here, and with the way things were unfolding, it pretty much spelled disaster. Ugh, whatever. Let's just think about this later on. I should have known, even if I was drunk, to mind my own business, thought Naruto, mentally closing off the matter, and continued with his morning rituals. While the academy was not strict about his work timings, they were rather critical of his work, as they held the same amount of prestige as a nobleman's institute. So even if his work timings were flexible, Naruto had made it a point to divide it into morning and evening sessions where the plants were rather active to do his job. With all the hustle and bustle yesterday, I am very surprised that the body of that winged girl wasn't yet found, thought Naruto. I am wondering about the same thing, though I must say that I am impressed with the way you handled yourself when you were wasted, said Kurama. Ha! Told you Lee's drunken boxing technique would come in handy one day, said Naruto while smiling. Well, I would have believed you then if you weren't trying to chug down 2 barrels of sake just so you could get wasted to train and in. Then you had to go off onto the streets naked, yelling about how ramen is the food of the gods and advertising how big your drunk is to a whole village, while still being Hokage before you started off your training, said Kurama, while being indignant at how his host had behaved in public while still being a public figure. Naruto had the decency to blush at that comment, as it has been one of his most shaded one of his final years. Yeah, let's not talk about that, shall we? You know I don't want to be reminded of episodes, Kurama, said Naruto. Kurama stayed silent, as he knew that while Naruto did act shamefully that year, it hadn't been without reason. He had lost a lot of his previous ones by then, and the alcohol eased the pain of the loss. The entire morning went through without a hitch. It was around 9 a.m. that the students started arriving at the front gates, as school started 9:30 in the morning and ends at 4:30 p.m. in the evening. After that, it was the after-school club activities, which ended at 6 in the evening, with a few exceptions to the rule. Students in Ko were rather respectful of Naruto, as he had, in one way or another, helped them out during their difficult times. He was like that one uncle you know that was lame but still had cool moments. Naruto was done with his job and was going to report his attendance to check encounter for staff, as his wage depends on it. However, a familiar voice interrupted him. Hey, Mr. Naruto, wait up. I need to talk to you for a second. Naruto looked back to find it was Yuto Kiba from the Occult Research Club that called him. Naruto grinned and said, "Oh, so what does His Highness Prince Kiba want with me? This humble one shall answer whatever he may ask," said Naruto while performing a mock bow. Kiba, who frowned and looked annoyed at Naruto, proving that he didn't like the way he was addressed. "You of all people should know how much I hate that title. That's why it's so funny to see your reaction. Still, if you hate that title so much, why do you not speak against it?" asked Naruto. "Very well then. I won't call you that title anymore," said Naruto. Thank you," said Kiba, who was at the very least relieved that someone understands, but the next thing he said ruined all he believed. "So what do you mean for your gayness?" said Naruto. Kiba hit his head with his palm, muttering, "It's hopeless." "It won't be if you can't relieve my doubt and date a girl. You know that even I am starting to question your sexual orientation when you don't date someone or even look at some girl in passing. All you ever do is look at sword magazines and the males in the workout magazines. Hell, even Rios believes you look like a character straight out of from a Yoichi fiction," said Naruto while stating the facts after facts. Kiba raised his hands to counter the argument, but he knew that he had lost the battle of words when he couldn't refute his opponent's statement. He sighed and said, "Forget it. Call me whatever you want, but let me get to the point. Rhea said that she wanted to see you in the Occult Research Club this evening and was hoping if you could free up some of your schedule." "Lil Red wants to see me? Why?" asked Naruto with a curious look and further at it. "If she wanted to talk to me, then she has then she has to do, then all she has to do is come see me herself. Why did she send you out? I don't know. All she said to me that she wanted to talk in a private club room. She would normally ask you to come herself, but she's kind of busy now, so that's why she sent me, said Kiba. Alright, I will see what I can do. 5 sound good? Yeah, sure. 5 it is, said Kiba, and left our school. Naruto was about to leave once again when he heard the commotion from outside the school gates, and he saw something he couldn't believe. Rias was walking with that pervert, Issei, who had a confused expression. However, Naruto figured out what was going on almost instantaneously. Ah, so Rias was the one who revived him. Guess the kid has some luck in him after all. I wonder why she did it, though. Last I heard, reviving the dead wasn't something possible in this world. And moving through alternate dimensions was something of an everyday deal in your world, asked Kuroma in a rhetoric question. Well, you know the answer to that question, but it still makes me curious as to how she did it, as the kid was dead enough for me not to heal him, thought Naruto. I believe that all will be answered this evening, said Kuroma. Well, let's hope so, said Naruto, cutting out the link. And so the day passed quite monotonously, with Naruto doing nothing but sitting on his ass all day, either watching the clouds or move to his secret chamber to learn and develop new sealing was an art he picked up later in his life to continue his Uzumaki legacy. He had all the free time in the world, so he thought, why not? And thus he came to learn it, love it, and his own ideas into the mix, which resulted in modification of Hiroshi's formula to cross alternate universes. However, though many believe that he had mastered the art, he believes that there is no true master of the art sealing is complex and at the same time endless. New possibilities arise every time with a change in a few formulas. Thus, Naruto always makes it a point to study the basics of sealing whenever he can, to get an inspiration for a new seal. Other than sealing, Naruto had nothing else to do, as he couldn't find a solution to containing his chakra while training, as even the slightest amounts is much larger than the amount let out by an average chunin. Thus he could be detected very easily. The only way he avoided suspicion was growing his belly of his show that he wasn't at all that fit, and to contain his chakra by placing a chakra suppressing seal on his body on top of placing a genjutsu. Though this did not help a lot, it did impede his movements a lot more. Quickly the day had passed, and Naruto made it a point to complete his work by 4:45 in the evening, as much as it was required to do other than mowing the lawns and grass. He then made his way to the club after taking a quick bath to wash off the dirt. Once he entered the building, though, he felt a prickling sensation on his body. He noticed a poster on the nearby wall. He quickly tore it off to see few writings behind it, which made no sense to Naruto. Some kind of barrier that prevents whoever it is into entering by placing them in some kind of illusion, judging by its effects, I feel, thought Naruto. Pretty complex thing they have here. Wonder how they did it, thought Naruto. Heads up, brat, said Kurama. Naruto then turned to his side to find a beautiful raven-haired female waiting on him. He quickly identified her as Akano Hajime, one of the other 2 great Onisamas of Ko Academy, along with Rias. No matter how many times I see it, I still find it astounding, thought Naruto as he looked towards the impossible chest of the female in question. Ara, I don't mind I don't mind here standing and having you stare at me all day, Mr. Naruto, but I believe that Rias is waiting for you, said Naruto. Naruto blushed at the comment as he remembered what he was here for. Yeah, sorry, Akano, but no matter how many times I see it, I still find it impossible you and Rias to have a chest that size. Seriously, what do you guys eat to make them so big? Oh, would you like to test them yourself, Mr. Naruto, asked Akano while giggling. No, not me, but I know a friend of mine that would kill for this information, said Naruto. What? Asked Akano. She passed away a while back, said Naruto in a calming manner. Oh, I'm sorry for bringing it up, said Akano while feeling bad. No worries, I've come to terms with it, said Naruto. Akano still felt bad and wanted to console him, but what he said next removed all her feelings and threw them into the gutters. May her flat chest a floorboard body and her anger and borderline love obsession soul rest in peace, said Naruto, to which Kurama responded, Amen to that. Akano didn't know whether to laugh at his jab or to cry for the person in question for the way she was remembered, but left the topic for another time. The pair both arrived at the club room where Konako was sitting on the couch and having candy, and were soon joined by Issei, who was led by Kiba. Issei was looking very confused and entire ordeal, but immediately threw away all his doubts when he heard the sound of a shower. It seems the Buchu is showering. Please wait for a while until she finishes. Here, take a seat, you two. I will prepare some refreshments, said Akano. Issei started to comment ferociously on the entire thing, what's going on, while bleeding through his nose like crazy, electing a short cry of perv from Konako. Naruto looked like the odd one out among the entire club, including Issei, as he was clueless to why he was here in the first place, but had some kind of idea what was about to happen. Rias took a shower and came into the room while wearing a bathrobe, which earned a reaction from Issei. Woohoo! This has been the best day of my life, said Issei. However, Naruto looked at Rias with a scrutinizing eye, to which Rias responded asking, "What are you thinking about, buddy?" In all the time I have spent with you, Rias, I know that you are unlike the way everyone portrays you, as you are a weeb, a Japophile, and a sucker for dramatic flair, but I still never knew this side of you. I'm trying to figure out whether you are a nudist or an exhibitionist, as I can't seemingly classify you in either one. Rias, who looked at him in disbelief, why would you say that? I am neither. Naruto gave her a blank stare and pointed at what Rias was wearing, and then at the shower in the club room, and said, seriously, what kind of sane person would want to open a shower in the middle of the club room and come in with nothing but a bathrobe? You know, you couldn't have been more correct in saying that. Always loved to show out her body into the entire world. She couldn't even sleep at night unless she was nude, said Akano, betraying her best friend by giving her that information. Oh, still, I didn't think that you would turn over your friends like that, Satoshi-chan, and Naruto giving Akano a knowing look. Akano had the decency to blush at the comment as she found out that Naruto knew that she was a sadist at heart. Rias gave Akano an ignorant look, who maintained an aloof expression. Rias, seeing this, sighed and decided to clothe herself. After she was clothed, she coughed to get everyone's attention and started off. I assume you would like to know why you are here, am I correct? Both Issei and Naruto nodded at the question. Okay, but before that, I would like to ask you a question. How much do you know about the Christian, Jewish, and Islamic mythology and beliefs? Asked Rias. Issei shook his head as if to say he had no clue, but Naruto answered her and said, not much, just that some big guy in the clouds created the world and humans, and that there exist for some beings called angels and devils, said Naruto, remembering what he had brushed up in the library when he first came into this world. Rias looked at the pair and then said, well, since you know that, it will be easier to get this done. The short version of it is, let me guess, dark and foul energies from each and every one of you. I would wager $1 that every last one of you are devils from where this topic is going, said Naruto, cutting off Rias. Rias didn't respond vocally. Instead, all the club members showed off their wings to prove his point. Well, it seems I was right on the mark, said Naruto. Yes, you were. Now that you know what we are, we would like to know something about you, said Rias. Who are you, Naruto Uzumaki? Chapter 3. The question is, who are you, Naruto Uzumaki? Asked Rias with a stock face, but when Naruto understood that she was seriously evaluating his threat level of at least by the stares she was giving, oh, me? I am just your everyday gardener. Seriously, Red, after all these days we spent, you ask me this now? You wound me, said Naruto with a mock-hurts expression. Rias can be serious all she wants, but in front of Naruto, all sense and logic should be thrown off a bridge, as the guy was unpredictable. Rias ignored his comment and said, yesterday I saw you fighting in a drunk supper against a fallen angel that killed Issei. I thought of helping you finish her, but you held your own against her very well, in that I thought it would be unnecessary to interfere. The fight went on until you decided to end it by killing the fallen angel. You stabbed her through the chest. No human, no matter how powerful, could kill an angel who has been blessed body that can even survive against a direct blow from a missile. But you did, and that too with your bare hands. I had you under suspicion when we met years ago while I had just started attending Code Junior High. However, since I did not find anything from you, no magic or sacred gear, I thought it was merely my assumption and let it pass. Yesterday's passing, though, have proven me to that I was wrong to think that you were not ordinary. So tell me again, who are you, Naruto Uzumaki? Nice couch leather, by the way. Seems pretty expensive, said Naruto while examining the couch. Rias was getting pissed if one went by her expression. Don't play with me. Who are you? Why are you here? Do you know that you are currently speaking to one that's governing this town? I need to know your intentions to deem whether you are safe or dangerous. I demand an answer from you now. She then released her pressure. The rest of the clubroom, excluding the newcomers, looked grim as looked upon Ria's serious face. Naruto smiled at her ever-changed her facial expression to a serious one in less than a second. The beard on his face only amplified the terrifying static look he was giving while releasing his killing intent. Everyone were instantly floored with the amount of pressure he was releasing. If I had any purpose that would have harmed you, Red, then I would have done so a long time ago. You were still weak to demand anything from me, said Naruto. He then released it further, added, I always knew that some kind of supernatural world existed in this place, but I decided I will not be involved in it for some personal reasons. I am just a hermit trying to live an ordinary and slow life in the city. Yesterday was a mistake and an unusual experience which I would like to stay as just as it is. A passing experience, said Naruto. He sighed and said, I only wish for things to stay as they are, Red. I ran away to stay away from crap like this yesterday night. I had no intentions of revealing more about myself than I already have. The way I behave usually is the true me, not the one yesterday. And yet you hid things from me, said Rias with a hurt expression. And yet you have done the same, said Naruto. That is different. I didn't want you to unnecessarily be involved in our world because of my curiosity, said Naruto, and I didn't want to get myself involved any further than required. Excuses can be made every second, Rias. I am a man of action, and I believe that action speaks louder than words, said Naruto. I am sorry if I hid things from you, but I thought it was for the best. And if you live your lives any other person would do from your world. Your world? Wait, so you are not involved with supernatural, asked Rias? No, I am not. Well, sort of, said Naruto. So that will conclude chapter 2. And a little bit of chapter 3. I read a little bit into chapter 3, so hopefully you guys aren't mad about that. But again, this story is starting to pick up immensely, and it's even interesting me. Like, I couldn't be more intrigued by reading this story. I think it's phenomenal. It's called The Gardener, if anybody wants to read it on fanfiction.net. It's by Lucky Bastard 6969. So again, there are a lot more what if Naruto's to come, like a lot, like what if Naruto had boosted gear, you get the point. I am gonna, when I do all the parts, I'm gonna form this into a movie, but without further ado, hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Remember to like and subscribe, and without further ado, peace. What's up, guys? It's your host here, Naruto DxD, back with another What If Naruto Was in High School DxD, and this will be part 3. And before we start this video, please like and subscribe so I know that you like this series. And without further ado, let's go ahead and head into where we left off. No, I am not. Well, sort of, said Naruto. Sort of? What's that supposed to mean? Asked Rias with an angry look on her face. Either one was involved or not. There's no middle ground. Since I have known you for 4 years, I don't see why I should hide this from you. I am technically not part of this dimension. No, the better would be that I am not part of this reality or universe, if you will, said Naruto. The entire Parage, including Ise, were stunned at what Naruto said with a look on their face that stated, "Are you serious?" Naruto sighed. Look, let's just forget about where I came from, as it no longer matters anymore. I am what I am. Where I am from doesn't make me who I am here. At least, not anymore. Naruto had a sad look on his face that made Rias falter from asking any further questions. Moving on. I believe it would do some good if you could explain how the little pervert over there was resurrected from the dead, asked Naruto and added, I am sure that kid was nearly dead or nearly dead by the time I started fighting back that black-winged girl. Yeah, you might need to explain who that chick is and why Ise was targeted. Yeah. Rias-senpai, can you tell me now, please? I am anxious to know, asked Ise. Rias sighed and mentally made a note to discuss this issue later. She then went forward to explain to Issei about the supernatural world, like the different factions and their diplomatic relations and so on, but only did in brief, as there was not a lot of the topic to cover. Right now, Issei, you officially serve under me as a low-class devil. When you advance in rank through while fulfilling certain conditions, you could eventually become a high-class devil yourself and get your own Perage, said Rias. Wait, so that means I can have my own harem? Asked Issei with a glee evident in his voice. All the things he hears and only that enters into his mind? Man, this guy is even worse than Pervy Sage ever was, said Naruto. Huh, said Kurama in agreement to Naruto's statement. Don't you dare start that Uchiha trend, Kurama, said Naruto. He was always annoyed whenever Sasuke did that to him. I already started it, brat, said Kurama while grinning. Then end it, furball, said Naruto. No, I won't. Yes, you will. No, you won't. Yes, you will. Yes, I will. No, you won't. Damn it. Fallen for the oldest trick in the book, said Naruto while biting his tongue at that stupid mistake. However, their conversation was cut off when Naruto was snapped back into reality with Rias calling him. What happened? You kind of zoned out, asked Rias. Oh, it's nothing. Just ignore me whenever I do that, said Naruto. Alright, fine. I won't be prying on any more secrets from you unless you wished for me to know, said Rias. Naruto smiled and patted Rias' head. Atta girl. Stop that. I am not a kid anymore, said Rias while forming a pouting face. Well, you and your friends are still brats in my eyes. I will be the judge when I should treat you guys like adults, said Naruto while agreeing. Everyone smiled at the interaction as they knew that this was the Naruto they knew. He treated all students in the school like this. Some of the students didn't appreciate his Nazi behavior, but there were a lot of exceptions as the students required someone to talk to whenever they felt down. Naruto, being the excellent listener he has performed that role and captured the love and respect of a lot of students in the school. Issei, who looked at the interaction, asked Kiba, were they always like this? I know that Naruto is close to a lot of the students here, but I still didn't know he was chummy with you guys. Kiba smiled and said, the reason we are all here in the human world is not only to protect the area, but to also experience human lifestyle. Though we may have kept secrets from him, he had been interacting like this with us for the last 4 years or so, ever since Rias introduced him to us. Wait, you've known him for 4 years, but didn't Ko just recently turn co-ed? Asked Issei with a confused expression and further added, I can understand the other two meeting him, but now in the world, how in the world did you guys get to know him? Kiba, who heard this, turned pale and said to Issei, I would rather not talk about it. Naruto, who heard this bit going on, laughed. Ha ha ha. I doubt anyone would want to hear that story, Issei, but since you are a part of this club now, why don't I indulge you on one of the prince's most darkest secrets? Most darkest secrets? Asked Issei, a tad bit curious about what was so funny. Mr. Naruto, you wouldn't, said a pale Kiba. Let him, Kiba. I give him permission, said Rias while smirking. This should be fun, said Akano. But no buts. Even if you didn't give permission, I would have said it anyway, said Naruto and beckoned Issei to come closer, and Issei did. Stop! Kiba cried as he didn't want anyone else to know what he went through. But the fuck? Asked Issei with a ridiculous expression. He turned to Kiba and said, you posed as a girl for 2 years in the middle school? The fuck, dude? Yep, the secret's out, thought Kiba with an expression that looked like a kicked puppy. It was the most funniest thing I ever saw. He was acting normally until the day I called him out for that. He avoided me like the plague for a year until he decided to open up little by little, said Naruto with glee in his voice. It's because of him that this school turned co-ed? Isn't it so, Rias? Asked Naruto. Rias sighed and smiled. Poor Kiba couldn't disguise himself as a girl for long periods of time. I required him to be here, so he had to do that to survive. My dad and I have been pushing for co-ed for a while, but some of the other board members disagreed, which made the delay until he came to high school. Issei, though he was disguised, he did feel out and understood Kiba's position. However, a big of a pervert he may be, even he had some limits in dressing up as a girl while being a boy was definitely a no-no. Right. I guess we can call it off for today, unless you have something else to add to the discussion, Mr. Naruto, asked Rias. No, I guess we can call it a day, said Naruto, getting ready to head back into his room. Mr. Naruto, before you go, I have something to ask of you, said Rias. The rest of the Perage, except Konako and Rias, left. Well, Konako said that she had sensed some senjutsu being used in now and then. I just want to ask you if you know something about Asterius. Konako tensed up, at which Naruto took notice of. He didn't bother about it that much and explained. Yeah, I am sorry about that. It was me, alright. I was not lying when I said I was a hermit, because technically I am a sage, said Naruto. Look, I don't know how much about it, but I have heard that nearly all senjutsu users in this world went berserk and attacked their own loved ones while under the influence. I hope you understand and try avoid using it, said Rias in a serious manner. Nature energy is merely a form of energy. Whether it is used for good or bad depends upon the nature of the user, but I still get why the users of this world turn crazy. It's not because of the energy itself, but because of the fact that the world is pissed off at its residents, said Naruto. What do you mean? Rias didn't understand what Naruto was talking about, and by her facial expressions, it urged Naruto's side and explained it further. Well, let me say it in a simplified manner, Rias. Nature is angry. The humans, devils, and angels polluted the earth too much with their wars and exploitation. A senjutsu user is deeply connected with nature. Thus, the user starts to amass the feelings into them. From what I understand, this world only has a basic understanding of senjutsu, as they don't know how to separate the energy from the intentions. If one had strong willpower, then he or she could definitely use senjutsu to a better degree without going crazy. Rias, who learned this fact, was stunned, but hers was a Konako who had a major reaction and uttered only 2 words: "Teach me." Rias, darling, asked Naruto, expecting to hear the story from her. It's complicated, said Rias. Fine, little white. I will teach you, but you have to prove to yourself that you were ready to do it first. How? Asked Konako. Tomorrow, meet me at 4 a.m., said Naruto. Tomorrow, meet me in the park at 4 a.m., said Naruto. Konako nodded her head and left. Rias followed after to give some mental support, as she knew that she had some bad memories and it would turn up after the discussion. Naruto, who was left to his own devices, then went on his merry way to the bar. He and Azazel had agreed that they will drink together for 7 nights, and whomsoever could drink the other right to ask anything from the other one. So far it had been a tie, and both him and Azazel each had won 1 time. He was walking merrily when he suddenly jumped and moved out of the way of an incoming light spear from his back. When he looked back and he saw wearing a fur cap and looking at him with a static face, he asked, "You, who are you? Why do I sense traces of Rainier's magic on you? Do you know what happened to her?" asked the man. "Ray who? Listen, buddy, I don't know where you got that fantasy-ass special effect spear and those wings you wear behind your back, but I am sure that you do not want to assault a simple pass-by with that," said Naruto while trying to play dumb. "Don't play dumb, human. Aside from your pathetic acting, I can see that you have reflexes unlike that of an ordinary human," said the man. "Serves me right for being drunk back then," said Naruto. "Oh, so you do know," said the man. "Yeah, I was the one who killed her. You happy now? Alright then, fuck off. I need to meet somebody now, and I don't want to be asked why I have blood on my shirt, alright?" said Naruto, while using his hand to wave the guy off. "Don't worry, human. The next person you will meet is not going to be him," said the man. "Oh, know the name of your killer, human. It's Donaseek." The now named Donaseek lunged forward with a spear in his hand, aiming it towards Naruto's neck. Naruto dodged and gave a kick to Donaseek's waist, while catapulted the assaulter 50 meters away. The blown away fallen angel spat blood and said with his bloodthirsty grin, "Impressive, mortal. Now entertain me more. While I normally ask you to surrender, I'm sure that it won't work, as it seems that you are one of those types that enjoys battle. Let's just say that I don't have any time to enjoy this battle of ours, as I needed to meet somebody, as I said before," said Naruto. He then moved in an unbelievably speed that Donaseek couldn't follow, but a second later the fallen angel could feel an immense pain from his neck but couldn't do anything. It lasted only a second, as the fallen drifted into darkness. Naruto had plunged his hand into the fallen's throat and squashed his jugular vein, immediately killing the poor bird. He then took his hand out and washed it with a hanky he found in the fallen's pockets. He looked down on his shirt and found that some blood had found its way on him. "Now I've done it. How the hell am I going to explain this blood splatter?" said Naruto out loud. "You don't need to explain anything, my friend," said a voice which now announced his presence. "I thought that someone else was there before but couldn't pinpoint. Where?" So, is the drinking match still on, Azazel? Chapter 4. Azazel was looking at Naruto in the eye while standing 30 to 40 meters away from him with all his wings expanded. Naruto was still slowly wiping off the blood on his hands and said, "Hey, do you have some water, man? Blood doesn't wash off that easy, and the smell retains on my hand after I do so," said Naruto. Azazel looked at him before summoning a water ball with his magic, which hovered over Naruto. "Thanks," was all that Naruto said before he cleansed his hand with the water ball. "So mind explaining to me what you were doing here?" Azazel asked Naruto. "I could ask the same of you, but let's talk about this over some sake, alright?" said Azazel. "You don't mind me killing your brother?" and asked Naruto with a confused look. "No. While I do know that you could have handled it much better, he was still a traitor from what I investigated," said Azazel. So you are not involved with them?" said Naruto. "No," said Azazel. Both of them walked silently to the bar and ordered some sake. They entered a private booth which tentatively was in one of the corners. The waiter brought them their drinks and they started drinking it silently before one of them chose to break the silence. While sipping on his drink, Azazel said, "I came here to investigate some unusual sightings in Ko. I heard a rumor that a flora and fauna started thriving here starting 5 years ago, not only at Ko, but many other parts of Japan started experiencing the same thing. Still, Ko topped all of these places of the basis of rapid change. Some of the yokai said that the energy and aura near Ko feels more relaxing and pure. A lot of them wanted to move to Ko, but it couldn't do so because it was under the devil's jurisdiction as it in their embassy to Japan. Then one of my other associates stated that the nature energy in and around Ko feels more like pure, unlike other cities. The associate stated that either a being of nature or a master of senjutsu had to be residing in this place for it to be possible, so out of curiosity I came here. On the night we met, I didn't think you were anything more than an ordinary human, but you became a good friend and companion. So being the curious mind that I am, I decided to investigate and was surprised to find absolutely nothing on you, except your birth records and other certificates which I assume are forged, as none of the places you were from seem to know a single detail about you. You are a ghost, but the one mistake you overlooked was your appearance that could link you straight to the sage. Your first appearance in this city was 5 years ago, a day after an unusual crash site was found in a forest near Ko. 1 week later, you found a job as a gardener at Ko Academy. The incident started 5 years ago, and you appeared 5 years ago. Coincidence? I thought so at first, but the moment you killed 2 of my brother and allowed me to come to a conclusion. You are the sage for sure. But who are you is still unclear to me, said Azazel before adding, "Why are you staying hidden from the world? What's your end goal?" Naruto, who had been listening to him so far, said, "My goal is to live a quite peaceful life, to the end of my days. That's why I also am staying hidden," said Naruto before he looked at Azazel in eyes and added, "I have no interest in interfering in your politics or religion. I just want the same life I had for the past 5 years. Azazel stared at Naruto with a scrutinizing eye. He then sighed and said, "You are already involved, my friend. The people around yourself are deeply involved in this world. Then help me in not getting involved any further," asked Naruto. Azazel sighed and further said, "I will keep what I found as a secret between the two of us as a favor for a friend. I will fill out all the display and discrepancies and you have in your identity to make sure no one else finds out about you. You have my thanks, Azazel," said Naruto gratefully. "Thanks are not needed, Naruto. Friends should help each other out, right?" said Azazel while grinning. Naruto gave him a grin of his own and said, "Yeah." Azazel then raised a cup and said, "We may have kept some secrets between us before, but here, let's celebrate the start of a new and wonderful friendship. To a better life," said Naruto, and better woman," said Azazel. Genpai. Both of them drank away till midnight until the barkeep decided to close the shop. Both Naruto and Azazel decided to separate after Azazel gave Naruto a means of contacting him. "Well, that went better than expected," thought Naruto. "You mean the drinking or the talking?" asked Kurama. "Both," said Naruto. Azazel did have a point, though, Naruto. You cannot expect yourself to be totally uninvolved in this mess if you're going to surround yourself with the ones who are," said Kurama. "I know, Kurama," said Naruto. "Then why?" said Kurama. "You are asking a question to answer you already know, old friend," said Naruto. Kurama stayed silent but gave a retort. "Your Nindo is going to screw you one of these days for sure, Naruto," said Kurama. Naruto did not say anything and silently cut the link. He remembered his promise to Kodako next morning and decided to take a short nap before he started his daily routine. The next day, Naruto woke up with his alarm blaring with the same "Radioactive" by Imagine Dragons. He didn't know why, but the song sounded strangely appropriate as an alarm. He then completed his morning routine and moved to the park and met up with Konako. He went there to see the mascot of the school and had already arrived in the park with a tracksuit. Why the school tracksuit, though? Asked Naruto. Don't have another pair, said Konako. Doesn't Rias offer you enough pocket money? Asked Naruto. She does, said Konako. Then why don't you buy a pair? Surely you wouldn't spend 10,000 yen a month on candy, asked Naruto. Konako blushed on the remark, to which Naruto immediately put up a blank face. Seriously, why is her teeth still white? Thought Naruto. Do you want me to answer that? Asked Kurama with a perverted grin. Don't go any further, you sleazy ass fox, and said Naruto, trying to avoid the answer as he knew it would be not something he wants to know. Konako, looking at Naruto, found a familiar expression that a lot of people had after asking her the same question. I keep my teeth clean by brushing 2 times and drinking lots of milk, said Konako. Naruto just face faulted at that. Milk, she says. Wonder how thick it is, said Kurama, trying to annoy Naruto even more by laughing. Oh, shut it, rabbit ears, said Naruto, cutting off the mental link. Konako forced Naruto's expression to be quite confusing as she couldn't understand why he did what he did, but she intended to find out. Naruto, noticing this, sigh and said, Forget I ever said that. Next time, don't say that answer to anyone, alright, kitty? Konako just nodded her ears as she filled she filed that up for later. Alright, now that I believe you already know that what senjutsu is, right? And said Naruto, to which Konako added, Do you know how to draw in it? Asked Naruto, to which Konako nodded again. Fine then. It will be easy once you know how to draw it. However, from your previous expressions, it seems that you have problems controlling it, correct? Asked Naruto. Konako nodded and said, Yes, I feel an urge to kill whenever I draw on it. Naruto frowned at the first and then decided to sit down. He gestured Konako to sit as well. Both of them sat and he thought, Alright, Konako. First off, let me purify the nature energy here, said Naruto, and added, When I say now, you start drawing the energy into you. I want you to get a feel for it and tell me your experience then, alright? Konako nodded, and then Naruto started to purify the energy around them. While he was doing so, the place around them started to brighten up and brim with life. Konako had already started to feel more secure and comfortable around him. She let her ears out and immediately sat in his lap. Naruto said, Now. But Konako didn't listen to him and she already fell asleep. Naruto, who saw the girl on his lap, smiled. Guess she felt a little too comfortable, huh? He then woke her up. Konako, who raised that she blushed, said, Sorry. It's alright, Konako said. Naruto further added, Now give it a try, alright? Konako did as he said and started to draw in the nature energy. Interesting. I wonder how the yokai are able to manipulate chakra without any use of chakra in the networks. So they draw it into their bodies and mix it along with their bloodstream, enriching the cells with chakra, huh? Said Naruto, observing the girl before him. This should obviously help them when they are fighting by enhancing their abilities, but its applications here are limited due to the lack of chakra network and the effects are nearly halved. But from what I have seen, this little one has more chakra than the average Jonin, so the amount of higher reserves will probably compensate the lacking of chakra network, said Kurama. I agree, said Naruto, but immediately noticed that she started getting tensed. He then noticed that purified energy started to turn impure again, and it was affecting Konako. He immediately summoned his famous chakra rod, the Lord Fakazu, used when he was still training, and hit her with it. Konako snapped out of the meditation and hissed at him and said, What was that for? This rod absorbs nature energy very quickly and will help you train in the usage. You were starting to get out of control, so I used this to get you out of it, said Naruto. Konako, who understood the reason, calmed down but still gave him an angry pout. Naruto sighed and said, Alright, I'm sorry, okay, but I will buy you some sweets later. Konako immediately turned to her static face and said, 2 packets worth. Naruto gave her a worried smile and immediately thought something. I sound like one of those shady uncles trying to get his niece to hide something he did. How the hell did I turn from Hokage to this crap? Gee, I don't know, maybe changing realities made you end up like this? Retorted Kurama. Naruto ignored that retort while narrowing his eyes to the trees. The barks were rather dark, along with the grass being a little more withered than before. Naruto noticed and said, Still, I find the nature energy is too dark in this world. It has been getting darker recently, which led to Azazel to find me easily. It is not the places I have visited ending up brighter, but the world becoming darker. I agree. I think you need to visit that yokai leader Azazel talked about sometime in the future to discuss this issue. If this goes on, there will be a lot of natural disasters in the future, and we won't be able to live that peaceful life you envisioned, said Kurama. Naruto sighed and said, "It seems that I cannot stay uninvolved in this world, huh?" Kurama didn't say anything and cut off the lake. Naruto then listened to Konako about what she felt. They decided to put their training on hold as the sun was coming up and a lot of people were starting to come to the park for their morning walks. Naruto then moved to the school where he began his daily job. He noticed that Issei had gotten much quieter than before after he joined the occult research group. Guess all that work Rias is putting him through and the whole rebirth as a devil made him go docile, huh? Thought Naruto. He then moved to his room and then to his study where he was learning sealing arts. It was then an announcement blared. Would Naruto Uzumaki please report to the principal's office? I repeat, would Naruto Uzumaki please report to the principal's office? Ugh, wonder what that guy wants. Naruto made his way to the principal, knocked on the door, and said, "Naruto Uzumaki here." "Principal, you called me?" "Ah, yes, come in." Naruto entered the office. The place was not spilling out extravagance like Arias' club room, but it still had a few paintings and expensive seats with a rosewood desk in the middle. The principal was a balding old man with the kind look in his eyes. A man was sitting on the couch. "Naruto, didn't you recognize the person and just let him be? So why did you call me here, Mr. Principal? Is there any problem?" "No, none, my friend. However, this person has come to the school today and requested to meet you. He wished to talk to you in private," said the principal. Naruto immediately squinted his eyes and turned serious, but still said in a friendly tone, "Oh, is that so? I wasn't aware that I made many impressions. May I ask who you are?" asked Naruto. "Of course. However, may we speak in private and consider something about your family," said the man. "My family?" asked Naruto in a confused manner. "I suppose you may need your privacy. Take the day off, Naruto," said the principal. Thank you, sir. You, sir, please come with me. I know a place where we can speak in private," said Naruto. The man nodded, and Naruto led them both to the backside of the school grounds where was a garden. Once they were out of range, Naruto immediately took a kunai in his hand and thrusted it towards the man's throat, who was standing by his side. The man dodged it with a kunai of his own and immediately took some distance. He weaved some hand signs and said, "Fireball Jutsu." A huge ball of flame came to him. Naruto countered it by weaving signs of his own. "Water ball jutsu." Naruto spewed water from his mouth, which formed a wall. The fireball was engulfed inside it and extinguished. However, the man didn't stop. He moved besides Naruto while he was distracted with the fireball and lunged a katana at Naruto's chest. Naruto dodged it narrowly with his kunai and thought, "Shit, that was close. You were getting out of touch, brat," said Kurama. "Yeah, it seems so." Naruto then moved backwards to create some distance, but noticed something was off on the place where he was standing. He noticed that there was some type of explosive tags rigged underneath his foot. When did he, thought Naruto, but then that he might have some traps when Naruto's field of vision was blocked by the attacks he pulled. "No time to think, brat, move," said Naruto. Naruto quickly weaved through some hand signs and placed it on the paper tags, which were about to explode. The paper tag disappeared somewhere. "Good thing I mastered the Hirosho no Jutsu. It should be somewhere in Sara." "Focus, brat. Your opponent's making a move." The man weaved through a bunch of other hand signs and said, "Wind style, demon winds." A couple of rogue winds, which sliced the grass underneath them, made their way towards Naruto. Naruto immediately dodged the winds and said, "Hey, careful, asshole. I am one of those who has to pay for any property damage that happens here." Hearing that, the man gave a familiar grin and weaved another hand sign and said, "Fire style, phoenix flower flame. Wind style, great breakthrough." The jutsu was enhanced by the wind and now was heading towards Naruto at a high speed. Alright, that's it. Playtime's over. Naruto immediately formed a hand seal that made both the man and him disappear along with Raging Inferno. The scene changed to the beach. Naruto weaved another hand sign and said, water style, great vortex. The vortex of water countered the Raging Inferno. The man tried to take advantage of this, sneaked upon Naruto, but was caught almost immediately by some vines that grew out of the ground. Wood style, strangling vines technique. The man struggled to get out, but couldn't as the vines grew until it completely wrapped around his entire body and except his neck. The man decided to give up and stay still. "Capture complete," said Naruto, and the vines around the man stopped growing. "Alright, you win," said the man. "Well, at least you know when to give up," said Naruto. "So what are you going to do with me?" said the man. Now. I find it incredibly rude when you still keep your transformation in front of your elders, boy," said Naruto. "What do you mean?" said the man. "Kid, you can fool anyone else with that transformation you have there, not me," said Naruto. The man immediately poofed and transformed into a black-haired person with dark blue eyes with black pupils. He had a shaggy hair tied in a ponytail and was well aged, around 50 based on the amount of wrinkles on his face. He had a wary smile and said, "Hey, Gramps. Of all the times your grandson had decided to pay a visit, it had to be now, ain't it?" said Kurama. Naruto ignored Kurama and said to his grandson, "You have a lot, and I mean a lot, to explain why you are here, Itachi," said Naruto. "I will do so if you can get me out of these bindings," said Itachi, who turned static. Naruto then released the vines around Itachi and said, "Alright, punk, out with it." "Well, Grandpa, you see, we have a problem," said Itachi. "The kind that requires you to travel out here and contact me? I am pretty sure I took all those kinds while I was still there," said Naruto. "Well, I think it would be better to the term to say it this way. It's not just our world that has a problem on their hands. It may involve this one too," said Itachi. Naruto looked at his grandson with a confused face. "Kaguya Usutsuki has returned," said Itachi. What? Both Kurama and Naruto almost simultaneously. "Where is she? What is she doing? Is there hellbent on regaining all chakra from our world?" asked a pale Naruto. Naruto had grown strong since his teens, but without Sasuke, even it would be hard pressed to go against the mother of all chakra. Itachi smiled and said, "That's where the problem begins. She's not in our world, but here." Naruto turned silent at that. Kurama: "Yes, kid? Fuck me and fuck my life. Oh, I would love to, but fate seems to be doing a better job at it than I ever will. For once, I agree with you." And that's the end of chapter 4. So this was, I don't know how long this video was, but it was definitely another special. So hope you guys did enjoy the video. Remember to like and subscribe. I will keep doing this series as I'm interested as well. The fan fiction will be down in the description below. It's by Lucky Bastard and the story is called The Gardener. So once again, thank you for all your support. And without further ado, peace. What's up, guys? It's your host here, Naruto DxD, back with another What If Naruto Was in High School DxD Part 4. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. But remember to like and subscribe. Let's get this video to what, like 250 likes to go ahead and hit up the series. So let's go ahead and roll into the story. Alright, Chapter 5. Naruto was sitting on the beach with Itachi. The principal had given him some time off work, so he decided to discuss the issue. He did not look pleased if one could read his expressions. "Tell me, Itachi, how did Kaguya escape? Both Sasuke and I made sure that she was permanently sealed in the moon with no escape possible. What happened while I was gone?" Itachi looked at his grandfather and said, "A lot has happened, Grandpa, but I don't think there was any major instance that could have accelerated the deterioration of the seal." "A deterioration? That seal is supposed to be unbreakable from both inside and outside. The reason we sent her to the moon was so that no living being could access it." "What nonsense are you talking about?" said Naruto with anger as he thought about the ridiculousness of the notion. "I don't know, Grandpa, but I did notice that there were some signs of decline in quality when a crack started appearing on the moon 8 years ago," said Itachi. 8 years? asked Naruto. "Yeah, it was 2 years after you left, Grandpa," said Itachi. "Kurama?" asked Naruto while looking for clarification. "Time and space are not consistent, brat. They move at different speeds in different dimensions, and apparently from what he says, I can pick out that there is a relative difference in speed by nearly 2 times. So 5 years here is 10 years there. Basically, yeah. Grandpa?" Naruto, who looked at his grandson's side. "Kurama says that there is a difference of the time between our dimensions by nearly 2 times. Itachi, who picked up on his hand at his left eye, winded, but he nodded in his head to show that he understood. "However, that is not important right now. Now, I need to know what Kaguya is up to, so tell me everything I need to know, Itachi." Itachi then started saying, "As I said, it started 2 years after you left. The astronomical department in the Leaf Village noticed a fission in the moon. I took notice of the issue while I was still in office and asked them to find out why it was happening. The team who were assigned to it were one of the best at what they do. However, they could not understand why it was happening. There were many theories that tried to explain the phenomenon, but all of them were shot down as it could not be proved. The fissure became inactive for a period of time, so we left it to be as we couldn't do anything. Then 6 years later, it once again started to develop even more. It did so at a rapid pace, alarming us. Once again, we couldn't do anything to understand. While this problem existed, there was a lot more of other problems that came to be. The nations were experiencing frequent natural disasters like floods, cyclones, and tsunamis. While the Leaf Village didn't face many problems, we did face a fair amount of floods and economical slumps, which were a result of lack of trade. It was during this time that grandfather came from his seclusion. He explained to us that it was Kaguya Otsutsuki and she had already escaped from the seal. I see. And Naruto added, then why didn't Sasuke come here himself? That guy should know better than to send you here instead of coming here himself. Itachi remained silent, which Naruto noticed. Why do you stay silent, Itachi? Asked Naruto, fearing that something grave has happened. Itachi sighed and said, it is not what you think, Grandpa. Grandfather sent me here because he didn't want our world to be unprotected if she decided to come back. Then why did you stay silent for a moment, asked Naruto. What you asked was a stupid question, Grandpa, said Itachi, and further added, I thought that I could give you a moment to figure it out. However, it still seems that you don't understand the implications. Naruto saw his point and then sighed. Alright then, I will try to stop whatever she's planning over here. So wait, how did you come here in the first place? Even with Sasuke's Rinnegan, it should be impossible to come here. The giant red lizard said that it won't happen again. No, I didn't come alone. I believe there are some friends of yours who are eager to meet you, Grandpa, said Itachi. He then held out his fist. Naruto, who saw the familiar gesture, immediately understood who it was and wanted to meet him. Inner world. The scene immediately changed to an empty space, but it was filled with 9 giant beings. Naruto saw the other tailed beasts who had assembled and then said, Yo, was the response of the 5 9-tailed beasts being Shikaku, Izubu, Son Goku, Chomi, and Gikyu. It has been a while, old friend, said Madara. Greetings, said Koko. Hello, said Seiken. Not that I'm complaining, but why are you guys here, said Naruto. To help you when the time comes. Kaguya is a threat to our world, and she must be eliminated, said Madabi. We don't know that yet, Madabi. Father did say if and when it comes, said Gikyu. Hold up. The old man sent you here? Asked Kurama. Apparently he did, said Naruto, and turned to Itachi for an explanation. The sage had noticed a disturbance from the pure world and contacted grandfather. It was he who actually found out the core issue. Grandfather then called for the 5 Kage meeting through me and explained the issue to the other Kage. The sage had assembled the Biju who agreed to help out and thus came along when grandfather sent me here using the seal you use. It took some time, but we were able to reverse engineer some parts and get those coordinates. Grandfather then entrusted me along with the Biju in my body to find the mission to find you once we came to this world. They were the ones that helped me maintain my body from being erased, said Itachi. Now that explains a lot of things, said Naruto. However, we still don't know how Kaguya escaped from her prison. I think I know why, Naruto, said Kurama. Say what now? Asked Naruto, with a bewildered evident on his face. Kurama sighed and answered, I believe it had something to do with our uninvited arrival here. Explain, Kurama, said Naruto. I don't know much about the time-space manipulation or theories related to the subject, but what I have is a conjecture, but it may be possible. Though I believe it may be best if we talk to a giant red lizard that's performing stunts in the dimensional gap, said Kurama. You want to speak to that guy? Are you out of your mind? Asked Naruto. No, Naruto, I'm being serious here, said Kurama. You know what happened the first time we met that guy while we came into this world, said Naruto, and further added, that guy was pissed off that we were intruding on his territory and started throwing a temper tantrum. I know, and we had to fight tooth and nail in our weak state, said Kurama. The only reason he let us was because of my apology and respect he had for our strengths. I told him that I would never interfere with him again, said Naruto. It's a requirement, Naruto, said Kurama. We don't follow Naruto, said Madabi, but if you think that lizard may be of help, I think we get what we can. I agree, said the 4-tailed monkey. Me too, said Shikaku. We must hurry, said Koko. I say we meet this being, said Guruka. I just want to take a nap, said Isubi. I agree with the others, said Shonomi. Saiken remained silent as she had already fallen asleep. Well, it's your word against 7 of ours. Decide, brat. Besides, how that we have recovered, we can easily fight against him. Alright, fine. We will meet Great Red. You happy? Said Naruto. Yes, said the united voice of the 7 Bijus. Alright, then I will see you guys later, said Naruto. Wait a moment, Grandpa, said Itachi, who had been staying silent the entire day. What's up, kid? The sage had instructed me to transfer the other Biju to you, as Kaguya might target them once again. Sure, the Gekuma is still sealed tightly in the moon, but the sage just wanted to be sure that they are in safe hands, said Itachi. Naruto heard this and said, alright then. He turned towards the Bijus and said, you guys know what to do. Right. It's going to be cramped in here, said Kurama. Bear with it, old friend. I will try to find a better solution in the future, said Naruto. Back into the real world. Naruto then removed the connection and returned to the real world. He saw that Itachi was exhausted. He said, "It will be like that when they are all out of you all of a sudden, Itachi," said Naruto. He handed out some electrolyte he had been sealed. "Here, take this. I usually don't use this, but thought it might come in handy one day." Naruto then supplied some of his yang chakra while Itachi was drinking to relieve some of the sudden loss. Itachi felt slightly better. "Thanks, Grandpa. Don't mention it," said Naruto. Now then, why don't you tell me what everyone has been up to for the last decade," said Naruto while greeting. Itachi smiled at his grandpa and said, "Of course. I will tell you every last detail, even if you didn't want to know." "Well, what do you do? Plan on staying, Itachi? I know that you may not have a place here," asked Naruto with concern as well. Itachi smiled and said, "It's alright, Grandpa. Though I did not say this before, I arrived here a while back, around 3 months ago. I have been living in a hotel near an abandoned church." "Oh, where did you get the money, though?" Itachi smiled and said, "I first started off by stealing some cash by picking pockets. After a week or so, once I learned about how this world works, I became this world would call as a private investigator." "Oh, good for you. So you did learn about the supernatural world," asked Naruto. "Gods, devils, angels, fallen, and all different factions along with the religions and politics. I learned about them. I noticed one of those strays, as the devil would call them," said Itachi. It was actually though them I found you, Grandpa," said Itachi. Itachi went on to explain, "I came in a general location in this. I could not track you when you were hiding. It took me 2 months and 3 weeks before I even found a trail. I followed this trail, though, the leader of the Fallen. A male Fallen called Azazel has been investigating strange happenings in Koa. One of my agents in his organization said that he saw you with the Fallen General while you were drinking one night. So I kept tabs on Azazel and I finally found you," said Itachi. "That explains it," said Naruto. The both of them remained silent and Itachi decided to break that. "Grandpa, what is it, my boy?" asked Naruto. "Why don't you come back? A lot of people are missing you back there," said Itachi. "Itachi, I thought I already told you the reasons for me leaving our world," said Naruto while sighing. He loved his grandsons, but sometimes the boy could simply not understand. "I know, Grandpa. I know that you miss Grandma. I know that you miss father and auntie, but you still will have a family left in our world. My son was disappointed that you couldn't be there for both his marriage and his birth of his first child. My granddaughter wants to meet you after hearing about all your adventures from her mother." Naruto sighed and said, "Itachi, the reason me and Sasuke are trying to isolate ourselves from you is not that we hate, but we love you too much to stay uninvolved. You know what they say about me and the Leaf. They are starting to think that we are gods, and that they're the one title I could not accept. Sasuke is strong in this resolve. He already has experience in breaking ties and drawing lines. However, those do not exist for me. No matter how apathetic I am to the situation I try to be, I always fail in the end to get myself involved. My time in the Leaf has been long gone. I know the villagers love me, and I know that my family loves me. I may be stupid, but I am not blind." Itachi stayed silent as Naruto continued. "The Leaf village of your time is not the one I grew up in. Everything is different. Every street, every building, every shop, and every face, everything is unfamiliar to me. I hope that you never experience what I'm going through, Itachi, because death is better blessing than life at this point. My anchor to live only exists in a few friends I have, so I decided to come here to start anew." Itachi said nothing, but took out a small scroll and unsealed something. He then gave the bowl to Naruto, who looked at the familiar dish in it. "I forgot to say that my son had married Grandma Akame's daughter, great-granddaughter. She heard that you loved Ichirashi ramen and practiced a lot of the Make a Perfect Bowl of you," said Itachi. "I hope that you enjoy it, Grandpa," said Itachi, that suddenly disappeared. Naruto looked at the bowl and smiled. "Kid always knew how to pull my heartstrings. He always had a soft spot for the kid. He has come a long way from the brat you and Sasuke trained," said Kurama. "And he has made me proud, showing me the kind of man he is," said Naruto. Naruto took the bowl of chopsticks and said aloud, "Eats the daku." He tasted it, but when he slurped down the entire bowl, crying, it was hard out at the familiar taste of spice. Inner world. "I did not know that Naruto turned into such of a mess when he left in our world," said Kuroko, still not believing was this current Naruto. "What happened to him?" Kurama asked Son Goku in the grim tone. The death of his mate 40 years ago affected him quite deeply. Goku, he tried to ignore the feeling, but he subconsciously started to isolate himself from the world. 10 years later, his son followed, and 5 years after that, his daughter left him too. All the Bujus stayed silent. Kurama continued, "I do not know what to do right now. We Bujus may have feelings, but we can never understand the morality, for we have never experienced it. I have a suggestion, said Manabe. All of them turned towards the two-tailed cat and asked her to continue. I think that introducing a woman in his life maybe offer a suitable distraction from his pain, said Manabe. Have you heard what I said? He is isolating himself from everyone, which means that he will not accept relationships anytime soon, said Kurama. I believe only time it will tell, Kurama. Who knows? His attraction and love for the woman may exceed his want to trying to ice in life, said Manabe. Snorted Kurama, but slightly agree with Manabe as a proportional to plausible. Like you said, Manabe, only time will tell. Now then, and said, added Gaku. Now then, let's just put aside for now and discuss something else. Let's fight, Kurama. I have a score to settle. I just went to sleep, said Isabel. I hope Naruto doesn't mind me running around his physique, said Kobuto. What was that, you sand rat? You wanted to be stuffed in a urine again? Fight, 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 Chomi said. Now, let's try to be civil here, said Goku said. What's up, red monkey? Do you want me to kick your ass again, shouted Kurama? What was that, shouted agitated Son Goku? Here we go again, said Kirubi. Well, it is to be expected, Manabe, knowing how it usually plays out. Back into the real world. Meanwhile, Naruto was going to his designated quarters while thinking about what to do, totally unaware of the tailed beast smackdown going on between his furry friend and brethren. How do I get to the dimensional gap? I have no clue. Man, if only I knew somebody who does. A person instantly came to Naruto's mind. Naruto snapped his finger and said, Azazel. Yeah, even if he didn't know how, I know that he will know somebody who does, thought Naruto. Naruto then decided to retire his bed, but before doing so, he saw himself in the mirror and remembered his fight with Itachi. Alright, seems I need to bring my body back into shape. Intensive training regimen then? Asked Kurama. Yeah, but only after we speak with Great Red. I heard the dimensional gap is isolated from other planes. We can really let ourselves loose over there, said Naruto. Yeah, I can't wait, said Kurama. What happened to the others? Asked Naruto. Seems the travel has still put a strain on them. They're resting for now, said Kurama. Alright then, time for some good night's sleep for me too, said Naruto before he yawned and felt flat on his bed. The next morning, he once again met with Konako with her senjutsu training, then made plenty of progress with her finally be able to control it to a certain degree. Naruto said, You were doing good work, Konako. If your progress is going at this rate, then you will have mastered art in no time. Konako huffed and said, My progress is so good, then why am I still not able to go 5 minutes without getting hit by that rod? Konako was seriously reconsidering her life choices. She knew that learning senjutsu will be painful, but not this painful. That damn rod is hateful. Patience, young one. There is still a lot of progress to be made. Getting through 5 minutes on the second day is a good damn progress. Yeah, right. You were not the only one who's been getting beaten up by that rod. I got beaten up worse than you did when I was your age trying to master senjutsu. Nothing comes without hard work. Yeah, I know. Hard work, right? Said Kurama. Stop with the cringy-worthy puns, Kurama, said Naruto mentally. But why do you have to beat my butt with it every single time? Said Naruto asked. Well, it wasn't required to do so in my case, but it seems that in your case, the region around your tail and head gathered nature energy faster than the other parts of your body. I naturally couldn't hit your head, so the only other option left is the tail. Besides some pain, will do you some good in remembering your mistakes and giving you more motivation. Sadist, was all that Konako said. Alright then, Konako, I will give you a chance to fight me after you complete this part of training. Surely it will relieve some stress, right? Said Naruto. Konako, feeling motivated, nodded her head and said, Just you wait. I'm going to blow you away with my techniques for messing with up my butt. That big black rod of yours. Okay. Naruto turned silent at the men and mentally spoke to Kurama. Kurama? Asked Naruto. Yes, kid? Said Kurama. I understand what she meant, but why does it sound so wrong in my head, bro? That's what I was thinking. Said Naruto. Just smile away, kid. Just smile away, said Kurama. Naruto sighed and did as he was told. Konako noticed the odd smile on her face, but couldn't understand what happened. Determined once again to find out what's wrong, she asked, What's the matter? Said Konako. Oh, nothing. Just thinking, said Naruto. Ah, the innocence of youth, said Kurama. Naruto and Konako later finished their morning session with a spar. Stay safe. Konako got her ass handed to her again. Safe to say, Konako got her ass handed to her again. Naruto then went back to do his schoolwork. The day was quite normal, with Issei still adjusting to life as a devil. Rias had not come by to talk to him today as she would usually, but got to know from Akano as she was quite busy. The day passed by rather quickly. Naruto completed his evening duties and got off to the bar, usually meet up with Azazel. He went inside to notice that Azazel was already there, but there was another person who was with him today. It was a white-haired kid. Naruto assumed to be Azazel's boy. The boy in question looked fit and was about the same age as the Gremory's group. He seems familiar to Issei, though. There's nothing in common between them, thought Naruto. Ah, Naruto, just what I wanted to see. So what's up with contacting me in the dead of the night yesterday? Sorry, Azazel. I wasn't thinking straight, but I had some good reasons to talk to you. I wonder if we could do it in private, said Naruto, gesturing his hands toward the white-haired kid. Yeah, Volley here just wanted to check up with me about something. He was about to leave anyway, right? Volley, said Azazel. Yeah, nice meeting you, Mr. Naruto. Hope you see you again in the future, said Volley. Yeah, you too, Volley, said Naruto, but secretly hoped that he never does for the kid's own good. As soon as Volley left, Naruto turned static and said to Azazel, I thought that my existence was meant to be a secret. Azazel poured himself and Naruto a drink from the bottle he had ordered and said, Don't worry about Volley. He was one of those people that helped me find you. I don't trust that kid, Azazel. He has that mad look in his eyes, said Naruto. Forget about Volley. Now tell me, why did you contact me? What happened, said Azazel. A lot of stuff happened to me, and it's summarized in one word. Not good. I need your help, buddy, said Naruto. And that is? And Zainal downing, because after Zainal was downing his glass, Naruto hadn't touched his own the entire time. I need your help getting into contact with somebody, asked Naruto. Azazel stood not ending the seriousness of the situation, poured himself another drink. Oh? And who would that lucky person be? Great Red, said Naruto. Azazel spit it out as he was sipping. Everyone in the bar looked at the pair before Azazel decided to apologize to the people present. Once everyone's eyes were off them, Azazel looked at Naruto with an incredible look. Are you serious? Asked Azazel. Serious as I can ever be, said Naruto. Even if I did say I could contact Great Warrior, which I could not, by the way, why would you need to speak with the Dragon of Dragons, of all things? Is the problem that great? Well then, tell me if the being on the same level or possibly higher than Great Yet is currently roaming this world and hiding, plotting things that could both end both of our worlds, then doesn't qualify as a good reason to speak with him, said Naruto. Azazel had his eyes widened at that. He looked absolutely stunned. He knew that his friend had no reason to lie, but could not believe that there was an existence greater than that of Great Red. Even the big guy in the skies was not powerful as the dragon while he was still alive. May he rest in peace wherever he is, thought Azazel. Azazel looked at Naruto and said, all right, you got my attention. Tell me what I need to do. Naruto looked at him and said, leave the contracting part of Great Red to me. I have an idea of how to do so. However, I need to get to the dimensional gap first. Fine, I can get you into the dimensional gap, but it will take some time, said Azazel. How long? Asked Naruto. 1 month at the very least, said Azazel. I don't have that much time, Azazel. I need this by week, said Naruto. I would like to help you, but sadly my hands are tied on different issues. My faction has been having deserters and troublemakers recently, and the other factions are asking us to get rid of them. I would like to say no to them, but it would affect our political relations, so I can't be doing anything but settle this first, said Azazel. Is there no other way? Asked Naruto. Azazel was silently contemplating on what to do before an imaginary light bulb flickered over his head. Is it just me, or did I actually see a light bulb over his head? Asked Naruto. I saw it too, said Kurama. Huh. Guess it might be an angel thing. It does suit me better than them with a ring on their head, thought Naruto. Agreed. Having a ring on your head sounds stupid. I pity the fools, said Kurama. I have an idea. How about you help me take care of the deserters and we can help each other out? It would be much quicker if you do it. My presence in the city will alert them and make them go into hiding. But on the other hand, you could do it quite easily since they don't know you, said Azazel. Naruto saw that there was no other way out of this and sighed. All right, I will do this, but when you complete the preparations, if you can take care of this, then I can get ready by the end of the week, said Azazel. So 5 days? Asked Naruto while holding up 5 fingers on his hand. 3, if I rush it, said Azazel. Take 5. I don't want a half-assed job, said Naruto. With that said, where is the job? Asked Naruto. Kyoto, said Azazel. And that will be the end of the 5th chapter. And that'll be like just what I'm reading today. And we'll do chapter 6 probably tomorrow or the next day. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. They take a really long time to read and make. So again, the story, it's called The Gardener by Lucky Bastard 6969, and it's really good. But please like and subscribe. As I said before, these take forever and it takes up a lot of storage on my little laptop that I have to do them. So again, hopefully you guys do enjoy the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe for more. Without further ado, peace. What's up, guys? It's your host here, Spartanic Arts DxD, back with another What If Naruto Was in High School DxD Part 5, and we will be going into Chapter 6. And before we start this video, please hit that subscribe and like button. It helps your boy out. And let's go ahead and roll into Chapter 6 where we left off. Kyoto, huh? Thought Naruto while still lying down in his bed. Well, we planned to visit this place anyway, said Kurama. But not under this situation and not so soon. We were going there to clear out Azazel's mess due to his incompetence in holding the reins of his faction. I doubt we'll be able to make a good impression in that case, said Naruto while rubbing his creased brows. I guess we can make the best of it. They say that first impression is the best impression, but I think we may need to work on it in the future before we get down to the talks, said Kurama, trying to reassure Naruto. Seems as if that's our only choice. I heard from Azazel that the leader is a good woman, so who knows? It may go positively, said Naruto while sighing. Let's hope so, said Kurama. Alright then, let me just write this letter of abstinence and go to sleep, said Naruto. What? Letter of abstinence? The heck? Since when did you become so professional, said Kurama, not believing what his host was doing. What are you talking about? I was always professional, said Naruto, confused at his friend's statement. Professional? Is this coming from the guy who always called his superior as Gigi when he was a kid? Submitted as a shinobi registration photo while posing with the face paint? Asked Kurama, deadpanning at his host. Oi, that's when I was a kid. I learned to respect the authorities and formalities later in my life. I knew that much of a hassle if you don't inform somebody that you are absent, said Kurama, recalling his time of the Hokage. Snorted Kurama and went back to sleep. Naruto completed his letter and went to sleep. The next morning, he went by the principal's office and he gave his letter. The principal agreed to let him go as he assumed it had been something to do with his family. The school could afford to hire some outside help when he was gone, or maybe even have some of the students do it. It may be a good experience for them. He went ahead and gave it to Naruto 2 months off and told him to come only after Golden Week. Naruto didn't know what was going on in the principal's head, and he thought he was being kind and thanked him. He came out and went by the ORC to inform them of his plans. He saw Konoko there, who he trained with this morning, eating some candy. He went up to her. Hey Konoko, where's Rias? Asked Naruto. Outside. She's with Issei helping out with a contract, said Konoko. Okay then, said Naruto. Why do you need her? Asked Konoko. Well, I thought it might be better if everyone else were present for this talk, but it seems that it will not be possible, said Naruto. Why, did something happen? Asked Konoko. I may need to go out of town for a while, said Naruto while scratching his cheek. How long? Asked Konoko. About 2 months or so, said Naruto. Training? Asked Konoko, worried about her senjutsu training. It needs to be put on a halt. It's important I go, said Naruto while making a grim face. Konoko, who saw the face, understood the seriousness of the issue. She stopped eating her sweets, hugged Naruto, and said, "Come back safely," said Konoko. While she may not admit it, she started to become close to Naruto during the train. She almost felt a familial bond with him, like he's that big brother or father she never had. Naruto softly smiled while looking at her and said, "I will, young one. Tell the others for me, will you?" Konoko nodded her head and went back to eating her sweets on the couch. Naruto left the club room and went back to pack his things. He sealed all the supplies that he required in a scroll and packed some mundane things like clothes, toothpaste, and such in a bag. Wait, why do we need a bag? Can't you just seal that up in your scroll? Asked Kurama. Having a bag makes you look less suspicious while traveling, Kurama, said Naruto. No other human is going to see you when you— Wait a second. You're not going to— said Kurama, but was cut off by Naruto before he completed it. Yep, we're going out in style, said Naruto. He immediately unrolled a rather large scroll and unsealed it. Immediately, a motorcycle poofed into existence. It had a sleek black outer and it was lined with flame orange. It looked like Harley Davidson but did not have a Harley logo. Instead, it had the Uzumaki spiral on it. Naruto hugged the motorcycle and kissed the body. "My sweet baby, I missed riding you," said Naruto. "Why do you want to ride that, Naruto? You can just run there. Hell, your running sounds faster than riding that thing," said Kurama. "Hell no. If I'm going to Kyoto for a week, then I might as well take this opportunity to use my baby and tour around the place. We need to keep it under the radar. Plus, I doubt we need any fuel, because this is chakra powered." Do you have any idea how good it feels to have the wind blow on your face while moving fast, or the thrill of going fast as sweet mechanical angels? Said Naruto. You wish, said Kurama. I don't know why you hate my baby so much, said Naruto while showering his disappointment at Kurama. Kurama just ignored it and went back to sleep. The motorcycle was invented later in the future when technology had developed in the elemental nations. It was rather popular among the shinobi as it helped them move things easier and it was chakra efficient. Naruto had custom ordered one and blah blah blah, you get the point. Naruto liked to ride this in not the vehicles prepared by this world because it was pollution free. He was helping out the nature in this world. It sounded very hypocritical of him to ride a machine that harmed it while doing this the same. He then proceeded to ride at wind high speeds while enjoying himself. He was in the mood. He was so in the mood that he didn't notice a police car chasing him behind. "Wanna catch me, do they? Well, hasta la vista, you losers. I'm out of here," said Naruto. "What is this about keeping it under the radar? Because you are setting off all kind of alarms here," said Kurama. Knowing this would happen, Naruto gets too excited whenever he uses a ride and screws up a lot of things. Screw keeping it under the radar. If this plan is going to end up as space or dust, I end up getting in a big ass illusion in the future, then at least I can do is enjoy a high speed chase. Woohoo! This old man still got it, baby, said Naruto. "Why do I even try?" said Kurama as he sighed. "Shit, roadblock," Naruto seeing the upcoming roadblock made by the police fans. "Suspect, your vehicle." Suspect, stop your vehicle. We have laid out spikes on the road. Slow down and pull over," said policewoman in speakerphone. "Showtime," thought Naruto. Naruto immediately accelerated his bike. The police who saw this man must be crazy if he thinks he would cross them. The one shouted, "You, slow down or you're going to crash." Naruto didn't bother but immediately used his legs to kick the ground. They kicked the reaction and onlookers who saw this were stunned. Naruto didn't bother and gave a peace symbol while in the air. "Good thing I have a transformation on," he thought. He crossed over the roadblock and went on his way. He crossed over to Kyoto, jumping over the roadblocks. Each higher at last finally lost them into the outskirts where he got off the highway. Whew. "This is much better than the other cities, of course," said Kurama. "Way better," said Naruto. "Well, I guess touring comes later. Let's finish the job," said Naruto, and went to address the orders given by Azazel. He noticed from outside it was a shrine, but immediately was protected by a barrier. He went inside the barrier and saw the shrine was just a facade, and inside was much bigger than he imagined. "Almost looks like a palace," said Naruto. "Halt! What business do you have here, human? How are you able to see through the illusion?" said the guardsmen protecting the palace, pointing their spears at him. "I'm here to see your leader. I have some business with her," said Naruto. "Oh, and what business do you have?" said the guard, tightening the spear. "Azazel, the governor of the fallen and the leader of the Gurchi, sent me here," said Naruto. The guard lowered his spear, but was still very wary. He said then, "Oh, alright. We will inform Lady Yakuza of your arrival. She had been expecting a response from your leader for quite some time. You may enter the palace, but beware, we are watching you." Naruto didn't say anything and entered the palace with a stoic face. He noticed that various amounts of yokai standing there whispering and murmuring while looking at him. He didn't pay mind to what they were saying and was waiting patiently. 10 minutes later, an attendant came to set him. "Lady Yakuza will speak to you now. If you would follow me, please," said the attendant. Naruto said nothing and just followed the person. Then came upon a traditional Japanese sliding door. The attendant said, "Lady Yakuza, I have brought you the emissary of Lord Azazel." Amelia's voice answered her, "Please let him in." The attendant opened the door. Inside was a beautiful golden-haired woman with a thick and short eyebrows. She had fox ears and 9 tails were swaying behind her. "Good evening. I hope my subordinates treated you fairly. They get a little antsy sometimes with all the troubles we faced recently, so you have to forgive me," said Yakuza. "Oh, no problem. They were just doing their job, yeah," said Naruto while looking at the woman and blushed. "Wow, she's beautiful, ain't she, Kurama?" "Buddy," asked Naruto, slightly concerned. "Kid," said Kurama. "Yeah?" said Naruto. "If you ever get the chance to get it on with her, don't you dare reject it," said Kurama. "Wait, what the hell are you saying, fuzzbutt? I already have said Naruto, however, was interrupted when he heard a coughing sound. He turned to fake Yakuza, was looking at him and with some type of disappointment. When she asked Azazel for help, she didn't mean for an obese human who easily fell for her charms like the one before her. Maybe I should have specified proper when I asked him to clean his mess up, thought Yakuza. Naruto, who noticed that the hot lady in front of him was looking at him with a scrutinizing eye, sighed and thought, well, there goes your first impression. He shook off his feelings in the matter and said with a start for him, "My name is Naruto Uzumaki. He's nice to not finally meet you, Lady Yakuza. The rumors don't do you enough justice for your beauty, so you must forgive me if I startled to see you. Azazel asked me to help you out with some matters you said and you have trouble with. He mentioned something about taking care of deserters? Yes. Kyoto recently had troubles with some rogue fallen, who operate in the outer rim of the city. We asked Azazel to take care of things, seeing that they are the fallen, and all fallen come under his jurisdiction. But while we were still allied with him," said Yakuza while stuttering in the beginning, as she didn't expect Naruto to make a sudden change in expression and attitude. Okay. "Do you know the general area of where we are?" asked Naruto. Yakuza nodded her head and said, "Yes. We have tracked them to an old music park which has been out of business for a while." "Alright, hand me the address and I'll be done by tomorrow," said Naruto. "It will be done? Would you like to have some tea?" asked Yakuza. "Thank you, my lady, but I believe I have a job to do now. I will gladly take up your offer when I return, if you don't mind," said Naruto. "That is fine. Now, if you excuse me, I have some other matters to attend to," said Yakuza as she made her way out. "Of course," said Naruto, and he left for the job he was given. Naruto made his way to the public payphone nearby. The bad thing about Naruto is that though he had a phone, he was too stingy to pay a network connections company every month for placing a simple phone call that he hardly uses. He dialed up a number using the payphone and waited for a while until the other side decided to pick up. "Hello, this is the office of Uchiha Private Investigation Firm. How may I help you?" said the clerk who picked up the phone. "Good evening, miss. Can you get Itachi for me, please? It's important that I talk with him," said Naruto. "I am sorry, sir, but if Mr. Itachi is unavailable right now, do you wish to leave a message?" asked the clerk. "Tell him that Naruto Uzumaki wants to talk to him and it's very important." "He'll know," said Naruto. "Hold on. We'll speak with you now," said the clerk. "Grandpa, why did you call me? Something happened?" said Naruto. "Get your ass down to where I am, alright?" said Naruto. "We need to talk." "Alright," said Itachi and hung up the phone. "Wait, did I say where I was?" asked Naruto. "No, you didn't, dumbass," said Kurama and added, "Why did you call him in the first place?" "Take a guess," said Naruto. "Knowing you, I would probably say that you called him to just hang out with your lonely ass." "Well, that is inaccurate. It ain't wrong either. I called him for another reason, you know," said Naruto. "Does it relate to the recent negative emotions I have been sensing from some of the yokai over here?" asked Naruto. "Yeah, it rubs me the wrong way," said Naruto. He then ran to address that Yakuza had given him and arrived at the amusement park. The park was closed and its gates were tightly shut. Naruto didn't want to waste any time and kicked the gates open. "Well, why don't we just announce that we're here?" Naruto suddenly was his strong suit and not his style, the old-fashioned way. Naruto grinned and then shouted, "Alright, you lazy-ass sons of daughters of bitches, get the fuck out here and prepare to get your ass whooped." "Who the hell? Hey you, what the hell have you been doing here?" said a man who came outside. The man further added, "Hey you guys, come check this clown." 12 more fallen angels joined up and all of them looked at Naruto while flying in the sky. 13 of them, 2 of them have 2 pairs of wings, and one of them is acting as a speaker, so he must be the leader of the group, I suppose, thought Naruto. "Alright, clown, you told us that you will click our asses? What now? Scared there are 13 of us and 1 of you?" said one of the fallen. "Granted, I didn't think it would be such a large group, but still, you guys don't scare me, so here's the deal. You guys either quietly get back to the Gurachi with me and get your punishment, or I bring you in by force. Trust me. Take the first option, because second one will not end well for you," said Naruto. "Pfft, ha, look at this guy. Why don't you entertain us by doing some belly dance with that pot of yours?" "Nah, leave it. You are disgusting anyway. You know what? No, let me rephrase it for you. We dare you to try to make us cactus without getting the light spear up your heart," said the fallen guy who Naruto assumed to be the leader. "Fine, your wish," said Naruto. He quickly formed 5 hand signs and touched the ground. "Wood style. Strangling vines field." Immediately 7 of the fallen angels got caught by the technique and were pulled down. "What the fuck? Shit, I got caught. Careful, guys. The vines drain your energy." The ones who got caught warned the others to be careful as they were already too late. Naruto threw 4 kunai of the uncaptured ones, which grazed them. The fallen dodged and said, "Ha, is that the best you can do?" said the fallen. He threw a light spear at Naruto. Meanwhile, Naruto just stood there and grinned. He immediately disappeared in a flash. He appeared behind the fallen and easily knocked them out in less than 2 seconds. The last two fallen remained. However, they looked pretty pissed. One of the other fallen leaders shouted, You will pay for this." However, unlike the other fallen angels, this one took out 2 revolver guns. He then proceeded to shoot 3 shots from each at Naruto. Naruto dodged the bullets and made his way to the fallen angel. He took the fallen by surprise and disarmed him. He kicked the leader away, who fell down, hit his head, and went unconscious. Naruto then shot at the fallen angel, who lunged at him with a katana. The leader didn't expect to be shot at his wings and fell down to where the vines were. Unsurprisingly, he got caught. The other leader, who got kicked, regained consciousness and saw that his gun was nearby. He was about to take the gun, but was stopped while he noticed a feeling of a gun behind his head and soft clicking sound. I know what you were thinking about, punk. Did he fire 2 shots or 3? You know, in all this excitement, I kind of forgot myself. Through having a gun pointed to your head, if you did try to move a single muscle, your head will be blown to smithereens. So you gotta ask yourself one question: do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk? Said Naruto and gave him a grin while went unnoticed by the fallen. The fallen considered his options and let go of his gun to his head. Naruto smiled as he extended his jutsu range to capture the fallen. As Naruto proceeded to take care of the others, the fallen who got caught asked, "Hey, I gotta know." Naruto didn't say anything and just pointed the gun at the fallen. He then pulled the trigger. The fallen, who quickly closed his eyes, and he saw the gun open his eyes. When he saw that there was no bullet coming his way, Naruto threw the gun at his feet, and the vines were taking care of the job, as the fallen leader said. "Son of a bitch." Well, that was pretty anticlimactic. For all those words, these fallen sure are weak, huh? Said Kurama. "Well, it usually is when the Hirashi art is involved," said Naruto. "So what was that? Version 3? You mastered it?" asked Kurama. "Yep, finally perfected it. Whatever the kunai touches, it automatically marked through it. It works only once," said Naruto. "Well, now to put these guys away." Naruto then silently sealed them in a scroll, made his way back into town. He made his way back into the town and entered one of the hotels. He booked a room under the name Sasuke Uchiha and went straight to bed. The next morning, he woke up to the alarm that was blaring its loud noise, and once again to find a face in front of him. "God, it's you, Itachi. Why the hell did you stick your face so close to me?" "Scratch that. Why are you in my room? How the hell did you even find me?" said Naruto, startled by Itachi waking him up. "I was close to you because I thought something was on your face, and I'm in your room because you called me, and how I found you." Itachi trailed off and switched on the TV. A high-speed chase happened yesterday on the XX highway where the suspect was driving an unlicensed black motorcycle, said the anchor on TV. The screen showed Naruto in a henge evading the cops and his unbelievably stunt of jumping over the checkpoints and blockades. Naruto blushed at the scene and said, "Oh, come on, Grandpa. Merely wanted some excitement. Going 160 miles per hour on a motorcycle isn't exciting, Grandpa. It's stupidity, and you know better," said Itachi, admonishing his grandfather. "Ah, jeez, you sound like your grandmother, Sakura. You take more from them than you do from me," said Itachi. "I am glad. I don't want to imagine what I would have if I took from you than I already did," said Itachi. "Why, you brat, sometimes I wish you and you were your brother instead of you," said Naruto with a mock angry face. On a serious note, why did you call me here, Gramps?" asked Itachi. Naruto turned serious and told Itachi his conversation with Kurama. Itachi, knowing that his grandpa inserted feeling right on the mark, said that he will get to work immediately. He then left Naruto to his own devices. Naruto then made his way back to the Yakuza's place, but on the way, he came upon a young girl he just couldn't ignore. The girl looked around 12 to 13 years old and was prancing about if she was looking for something. Naruto, being the good guy, he made his way to the girl and asked, "What happened, young miss? Is everything alright?" asked Naruto. The young girl looked at him with an awkward expression, not expecting him to talk to her, and said, "It's alright, I'm fine," said the young lady, while hesitating to say what happened. "It's fine, young miss, you can say it to me. I will try to help you however I can," said Naruto, reasserting the manner, and gave her his famous Trissy Fox grin. The young girl who saw it calmed down and said, "It's my purse. I had it with me a few moments ago, but I found it missing. Mister, can you please help me find it? My mother will be angry if she knew that I lost my purse." Naruto frowned and looked around. He noticed one person was keeping his hands in his pockets. Naruto looked at him and smiled. "Found him." Naruto turned to the young lady and said, "Don't worry, missy. Just wait right here. I will go fetch your purse." "Fetch?" asked the young lady, but Naruto was already way ahead of her. She saw him talking to another man who grunted at him annoyingly. She saw Naruto saying something to the man, and then the man relented and handed her the person she had been searching for. She realized, that man picked me. Naruto then came to the young lady and said, "Here's your purse, young miss. Thank you very, very much, mister. This isn't much, but I hope this serves you for helping me out, said the young girl, handed Naruto some cash for her purse in a well-mannered way. Naruto shook his head and said, it's fine. Let's just say it's my good deed of the day. Next time you walk around the streets, be careful for pickpockets, alright? The girl smiled and said, alright, see you later. Naruto turned to leave, but was stopped by the cry from a girl. Wait, said the girl, further added, what is your name, mister? Who, me? My name is Naruto Uzumaki. Nice to meet you, said Naruto. Kano. Naruto grinned and said, nice to meet you, Kano. Aw, shit, look at me. Well, have fun, Kano. I have to get going, said Naruto while looking back. He went into the Yakuza's place yesterday with a 9-tailed vixen. He explained to her that they will no longer be any trouble to her, which Yakuza relaxed and gave him her thanks. Naruto just shrugged it off and saying that it was his duty. He then explained to her that the other part of the errand Azazel had given to him, he was able to give her some terms for an alliance and ask her whether this could be approved. Yakuza went into the momentary of silence after looking at the paper in her hand. Then she nodded and said that she will get back to him by the end of this week after she had a meeting with her council. Naruto agreed to the requirement. Both people spent some time speaking about the mundane things. Naruto found Yakuza to be a beautiful and smart woman who had his taste for ramen. Yakuza appreciated Naruto's company as he seemed like a good friend to talk to. Soon the sun went down and Naruto was about to leave when Yakuza stopped him and said, will you join me for dinner, Naruto? My daughter will also be there. Naruto, being polite and slightly shy about the prospect, said, I don't want to intrude in your personal time, milady. Nonsense. You're not intruding anywhere. Plus, aren't we already friends? Call me Yakuza. The my lady stuff is too stiff as a way of addressing me. And Yakuza, in his joyful manner, Naruto smiled and said, alright, Yakuza, please lead the way. They went into a wide room together and arrived at the table. Yakuza said, my daughter will be joining us soon, Naruto. Please wait while she does, said Yakuza. It's alright, Yakuza. Let the little one take her time, said Naruto, trying to be polite. Strange. She usually is not this late. I wonder what happened, said Yakuza. Just when she said, a maid barged into the room and shouted, milady! Come, Kura, tell me what happened, said Yakuza, trying to hide her worst fears. It's bad, milady. The young miss has been kidnapped. The kidnappers have left this note, said the maid Yakuza on the note. Yakuza read the note as her displeased expression turned furious. She burnt the note into cinders with her foxfire. Use all the guards to search the city. I don't want any harm to befall my daughter, said Yakuza. At once, milady, said the maid left. Naruto looked at the sight before him, asked her, what is the matter, Yakuza? What did the note say? What's their demand? They are demanding me to remove myself from my seat of power, said Yakuza while gritting her teeth. Why? That's absurd, said Naruto. Yakuza sighed and said, no, it's not. Some of my kinsmen have been displeased with me ever since the Nishibe incident 10 years ago. Some of my power-hungry councilmen took advantage of this and have been pushing others to dethrone me ever since. It seems that they finally act in open. Naruto narrowed his eyes and asked how. They want me to agree to the marriage between me and their candidate, an 8-tailed Kizuki yokai. The man is not a bad person at heart, but he doesn't realize he's being manipulated by the elders. I have been trying to get through to him, but he takes as if I'm being manipulative or trying to maintain my own power, said Yakuza while sighing. Naruto narrowed his eyes and said, let me go get your daughter then. What? Asked Yakuza with a surprised expression. She shook her head and said, this doesn't concern you, Naruto. The kidnappers want me to announce the engagement with their candidate tomorrow, and the marriage will take place next week. Only then will they release my daughter. Naruto still stubbornly, reassuringly said, the matter concerns me because you are my friend. Friends help out each other besides. I doubt counselors would agree with Azazel's terms. Yakuza understood his reasoning and smiled. She said this to him. Alright, I will ask you for this help one time. My friend, please find my daughter and bring her back safely. It would be the best if you can do this before I could possibly announce an engagement. If you could help me with this, I will agree with the terms Azazel has put forward, seeing the council will be inactive for the time being. Thank you for helping me out in these tough times, Naruto. It's no problem, Yakuza, said Naruto in grit. Besides, I can't leave such a beautiful woman like yourself. Could I? Yakuza blushed under the implications of being called beautiful. Naruto, who noticed what he said was cursing him for his motor mouth, he then said, well, yeah, I will be going now, said Naruto. Alright, please do be careful, said Yakuza. Naruto nodded and went out of the palace. He went into the crowd and touched a seal on his arm. The seal lifted up and Itachi just flashed into existence. No one had noticed him turning up suddenly since they were in a crowd. So what have you found, Itachi? Asked Naruto. You were right, Grandpa. There are some traitors within the yokai faction, said Itachi. Tell me everything, said Naruto. Alright, so hopefully you guys, that will be the end of chapter 6. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this little segment. Please remember to like and subscribe. And I know this chapter was a little bit slow, but the author said right here that in the next chapter we'll get into like the main story and shit will start to kick up a little bit more. I know this one was a little bit slow. There was some action, you know, some little slow parts, but hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. It's take a while to make, and without further ado, peace. What's up, guys? It's your host here, Spartanic Arts DxD, back with another What If Naruto Was in High School DxD Part 6, and we are on Chapter 7. So before I start the video, please like and subscribe, and maybe comment down below. And hopefully you guys do enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's go ahead and roll into Chapter 7. Alright. Tell me everything you know, Itachi, said Naruto with a grim face while moving through the crowds. Itachi replied, there has been some friction within the yokai faction ever since the Neoshu incident 10 years ago. The Kyoto yokai were not pleased with bowing down their heads to the devils with their kinsmen when they were slaughtered. I hope you know of this incident. Naruto nodded his head and closed his fist tight. One of those incidents Azazel mentioned to Naruto so that he had some knowledge about the yokai society works if he's going to forge relations with them. Not surprised to say, Naruto was not pleased with how the incident was taken care of. Itachi noted his grandfather's expressions and said, well, since you know of this, it will be much easier to explain. 3 of the 8 elders who take decisions along with Kyoto faction leader decided to take advantage of this mess 10 years ago and have been pushing her out of power. They are intending to put a puppet in power. Naruto nodded his head and said, tell me their names. Itachi complied and said, the first one is Elder Mizuhiro of the Akakumi. The second is Elder Kazuhaya of the Kachamachi. The third is Elder Takeshi of the Bazan. Their puppet leader is known as Nakayoshi, an 8-tailed Kisame. A rebellion by water, wind, and fire along with a good friend of theirs. It feels poetic, said Naruto. He looked at Itachi and added, well, it seems I must fill you on what I learned. Naruto then told Itachi of the things that happened before he left the palace and told Itachi, I've promised the Yakuza to bring her daughter safely back to her. I have never broken a promise, and I don't intend to change that to my last breath. He then ordered Itachi to find out every last dirty secret you can about those 3 elders and give it to their puppet. What I heard, he's the only one who is righteous among them. Leave no stones unturned. We need to get rid of them quickly if we are to stabilize our relations with Kyoto yokai. I will search for the girl in the meantime, Itachi said at once, and disappeared. Naruto walked the busy streets of Kyoto alone. He smiled as he thought of a plan. So, how do you intend on finding the girl? Asked Kurama. We are not going to find them, we are going to let them find us, said Naruto. This is not the time to play games, Naruto, asked Kurama with an ridiculous expression. I heard that there is a great bar in Kyoto from Azazel that serves one of the best sake there is. I am going to enjoy ourselves while we can, said Naruto while ignoring his friend's comment. Why would you do that? How on earth is that going to help us? Asked Kurama, still not understanding his friend's decision. Just wait and see, said Naruto, making his way to the bar. It was a fancy inn with a lot of customers that night. Naruto went up to the bar table and said to the barkeep with a thick Kyoto accent, give me some good old sake, the best one you can find. I am in a happy mood today, so free sake for everybody. Everyone cheered the idea of getting free sake. The barkeep smiled and nodded. The whole bar was noisy with people running their drinks. I still don't get the point of this, said Kurama. Just wait, said Naruto. Kurama stayed silent and healed Naruto, who drank 3 bottles worth of sake. He then noticed a rough-looking pair of Kamachi yokai drinking and blabbering something. Naruto smiled and thought, bingo, and went near them. Kurama looked at his friend and finally understood what he was about. So you used the principle of that old perverted master of yours, said Kurama. Naruto grinned and said, yeah, the best way to get information is through a bar or a brothel. The first rule of gathering information, if there was anything that old pervert had taught me useful aside from the ninja arts, then it was the art of espionage. Sadly, I didn't have any use for it in my teenage years. The problem with all these 2-bit thugs is that they tend to enjoy themselves after a good work instead of just going to sleep. Thank God you haven't picked up his sense of literature, said Kurama. Ha, you call that literature? It's just a shoddy excuse to share his smut. Said Naruto and added, I don't understand how people can read that piece of crap. Then why did you hide all the Makeout series books in the Hokage's office? Asked Kurama with a deadpan look. I don't have anywhere else to hide them. They are my godfather's books, you know, and I have publications rights for those books. I just kept them aside for memento even if they were perverted, said Naruto. Then a better question would be, why did you enact the scenes with Hinata? Asked the fox, further giving a deadpan. What the hell, Kurama? I told you not to look at our private time, said Naruto with a blush on his face. Well, I was kind of bored, plus you and that mate of yours was putting on a show and I could seriously enjoy. What was that line you said? Bend your knees and suck my... said Kurama. Naruto interrupted it. Stop. I don't want to know those things now, asshole. That was the single most shameful moment of my life, said Naruto with a brighter blush. Shameful? I doubt it. You were enjoying it thoroughly. What did you say? Yes, mistress, let me, said Kurama, once again interrupted by, stop, you sleazy fox, or else I might have to show you the worst image you'll ever see, said Naruto, anger in his voice. Try me, said Kurama with a smirk. Kurama wasn't smoking for lie, for the image Naruto had shown him burnt his eyes, literally. It was a sensual image of a sweaty Kurama and Shikaku in a pink cape about to do the deed. Ah, my eyes, make it stop. Please don't do this to me, Naruto, said Kurama, but at this point he could do nothing about it. You will pay for intruding mine Hinata's sexy time, so good luck, Naruto, said Naruto. Oh, by the way, I imagined a pretty good movie, so enjoy the next 2 hours in the best way you can, said Naruto while disconnecting the link. You will pay for this, brat. I will make sure you get back for this someday, said Kurama. It didn't stop him from saying, please make it stop. No, no, no. Stop, not that hole. Kurama can beg all he wants. Naruto wasn't paying attention to any of it. He already enhanced his hearing while listening, a seal of eavesdropping on the conversation going on between the pair of Kamachi. Gosh damn that little bitch. I'm going to show her who's boss and mistress usefulness for her is over, said the one Kamachi with a bandage over his head. Relax, it's just a bite, said the other one, and added a perverted giggle. It's not like you'd have bitten various places before. Do you think this is funny? That little shit bites like crazy. It was damn hard to hold her and get some food in her mouth. If it weren't for the boss threatening her, I doubt I would have left my fingers intact, said the first one. You tell me. Do you know how annoying a fox break was when carrying her all the way to a warehouse? She couldn't stay still, said the second one, then further added, I pity the guys who are going to move her next. The palace guards are searching the area like crazy, so the mistress doesn't want to take risk in helping in the same place more than one night. Anyway, forget that annoying little twat. Let's drink and celebrate. Heard that some human is paying for free sake, so let's enjoy ourselves. Naruto cut off the listening seal. He then made his way to the barkeep and paid the man that he owed. All the money that Naruto used from his winnings in the casinos he gambled. Safe to say that his luck and money, he became rich after a few trips to different casinos. Why different ones? It was all because the casino he played and didn't allow him to be there more than once and made them cough up all the dough they earned. He earned a lot of money. It was money that he didn't have use for. Naruto thought, warehouse, is it? He waited for some time, then noticed the two yokai coming out drunk, but still not totally wasted. The two of them separated, and Naruto silently went forward the guy that had bitten his hand and touched on the shoulder, and immediately both of them disappeared in a flash. They both reappeared on the top of an active volcano with Naruto holding them person by in handcuffs. What the hell is this? Who are you? Let go of me, you son of a bitch, asked the other guy while sweating from the heat of the inferno. The fellow didn't notice, though, that he was struggling off Naruto's grips of his cuffs. He was drunk in that he didn't even notice a change in scenery. Careful what you wish for. Do you really want me to let go? Take a look down below. I'll allow it, said Naruto in an ominous manner. The yokai who was sweating noticed a hot and boiling lava volcano down below, impaled. He lost his drunken stupor, and adrenaline flowing through his veins cleared his thinking process. He shouted, "What do you want, human? Please, I will do whatever you want. Just let me down," said the Kamachi. "I want you to tell me where your group is keeping the fox princess," said Naruto. "I can't say that. They will kill me if I do," said the Kamachi. "Is that so? Well, then you decide. You die now without talking or no fighting chance, or you die later by the hands of your boss where you still have a chance to run out of town," said Naruto with a terrifying static face, releasing his killing intent. The man seriously weighed his options, but when Naruto slightly loosened his grip on the man, he decided to talk. All right. We're keeping you in a warehouse of the old iron mill called Gotetsu," said the man. "The guard detail? There are 30 of us who are guarding her, and one of them is Elder Kaze. That's all I know. Let me go," said the man, frightened about falling to his doom. "Excellent," said Naruto, and they flashed out of place once again, ended up in the alleyway. "Now, I can't have you talking for a while, so good night, said Naruto, knocking out the yokai hit him in one of the nearby dumpsters. Naruto then made his way to the location given by the yokai, though this time he went in silently. I can't risk them teleporting the princess in the state of emergency, Naruto. He then sneaked inside, avoiding the guards, quickly made his way into the warehouse. He made some shadow clones who placed some explosive tags here and there and pasted them completely around Mill without alerting the guards. Meanwhile, the original did his best to sneak inside the warehouse. He then saw 6 yokai inside, considering of the 5 adults and a young fox yokai in a separate area surrounded by crates. Naruto recognized the youngling. Ko, so she's the princess. What a small world, thought Naruto. Naruto then sneaked towards the palace, where Ko was, and Ko, who noticed Naruto couldn't properly know his features and said, "Let me go. My mother won't let me get away with this," said Ko, nearly shouting. Naruto came near Ko and kept a finger on his lips and shushed her. He probably showed his features to her in the moonlight, so he knew who she was. Ko recognized him and turned silent. She was confused why Naruto was here, but her doubt didn't remain unanswered when Naruto noticed her confusion and whispered, "Your mother sent me to rescue you, Ko. Stay silent for now. We can talk later." Ko heard this, calmed down, and nodded her head. Naruto saw this, grinned at her, and removed her bindings and said, "Alright, I'm going to get you back to your home, alright? Don't let go of my hand." Ko nodded her head, and Naruto flashed them both out of the way. Harsha and Koku left the palace gates. He had marked the place just in case there was an emergency, which turned out to be pretty handy now. "Alright, Ko, go inside and find your mother. I will take care of the people who kidnapped you, alright?" "Thanks, Mr. Naruto. Please take care of yourself and come back safely," said Ko, confident in her savior's skills. "Alright then, kid. You go find your mother now. She's been worried sick all day." Ko didn't need to be told twice. She rested inside the palace far enough. Naruto then went back to the mill and take care of the rest of the problems. He then smirked and thought, "Alright, in 3, 2, 1, now!" He formed a hand seal sign. In the next second, they heard a lot of explosions outside. "What was that? An explosion? All of you go check outside. If there are any intruders, then delay them as much as you can. I will go secure the brat," said female Komachi, who Naruto assumed to be the elder. Once the others were with the orders, the female Komachi came to find the Ko, but couldn't find her. All the alarms went off inside her head. However, she wasn't given time to think when she noticed her presence behind her, closely approaching her. She moved away from a Naruto who came to chop behind her neck. Though he missed, he gave her an annoying smirk and said, "Surprise, motherfucker. You are the lackey that fallen bastard had said, aren't you? You have no business here. This is an internal affair of the yokai," shouted the elder. She immediately cast the wind blades and hurled them at Naruto. Naruto dodged the blades and said, "First of all, I am not Azazel's lackey. Business partners would be a better term." He then made some hand seals and shouted out while grinning, "Second of all, isn't it normal for a gentleman to help a woman in need in this world?" Wood release. Planet spore release. Some plants emerged from the ground and released spores. The elder used some wind to push away the spores, but it turned out to be pointless as there was no effect. The spores just came back. "Why is my magic not working?" shouted the elder in disbelief. Naruto said with a deadpan look, "Seriously? Are you an idiot, or do you just not think? Do you honestly think you can get rid of those spores and close by using wind magic in a place where there has no vegetation?" The elder could only watch hopelessly as she fell to the ground paralyzed. "This technique is a nice one, only when it comes to catching my opponent by surprise or by force. The problem is that it only affects beings with chakra like you, yokai. Now, then let's get out of here before the others show up," said Naruto, releasing a jutsu and withdraw all the plants disappeared underground. Naruto then sealed the paralyzed elder in a scroll and used a hashiri to fly away. The guards who went on alert in a second late as they entered the warehouse just as Naruto escaped. Some of them had noticed the remaining spores and were quick enough to warn the others. They used some magic to clear the space together, but still couldn't find any sign of the elder or the fox yokai. They then decided to retreat back to one of their elders who informed them. Meanwhile, Naruto flashed into the palace to find the awaiting daughter and mother pair who were still hugging each other. He silently stood there until the pair separated and noticed their visitor. Yakuza was the first one to speak. "I thank you very much for bringing my daughter back to me, Naruto. My daughter also told me her encounter with you, and you have my gratitude for helping her time of need," said Yakuza. Naruto responded, "It's not a big deal, Yakuza. I would have done that either way, whether it was Ko or not." Yakuza shook her head. It's hard to find such chivalry in this world these days. People would rather work for benefits and ignore those in need and not wishing to get involved. Naruto grinned and said, well, it is who I am, I guess. I will take what you said as a compliment. Now, though, I came here for a different purpose. Yakuza tilted her head slightly to the right as Ko in both sporting a bewildered expression on their face. Cute, thought Naruto. He then coughed and snapped out of it and quickly he got into what he said. I've captured one of the elders, one by the name of Keza. I trust she will be of use to you? Yakuza nodded her head and said, yes, please bring her here. I will interrogate her myself. Excellent, said Naruto, and sealed the scroll. Keza immediately poofed into existence, surprising both Kitsune and Yokai. Wow, said Ko, not hiding in her surprise. Yakuza mentally filled the questions and how he did that for later, and immediately started interrogating the Kamachi then and there. She had asked Ko to stay by her side so that she learns how the world works. Ko was to be the next leader of Kodo Yokai. After Yakuza, it was required of her to know the workings of this world, no matter how much Yakuza hated doing this to her young daughter. The elder was tight-lipped, and at first some amount of killing intent from the strongest yokai was able to make her talk out of fear. She told them they had been planning this for a while now and chose to strike as the interim peace time wouldn't affect the different factions from targeting them. Though the elders were power-hungry, they did not take the appropriate measures so that not all the yokai were harmed, at least the ones who support them. Once they learned everything they can from her, they confined her in a prison built inside the palace and placed some restraining seals on her so that she doesn't escape. Itachi arrived at the right time with the info about the elders. He was able to get enough evidence on their contribution and their various hidden agendas with some of their factions ones that could implicate them in a bad light among the yokai. To say Yakuza was pissed would be an understatement, as there were forging alliances behind her back. The next morning, she announced the treasonous actions of the elders and labeled them as criminals. Suffice to say, the general yokai population was pissed. Those who were involved with the three elders were arrested, and those who supported them indirectly were too scared to oppose the ruling faction and went into hiding. The remaining two elders tried to run away from Kyoto, but couldn't do so because Naruto helped catch them before they did. None of those directly involved were pardoned. Most of them were waiting to be executed for insertion in high treason. The Kitsune Nashi was the only one left who was let off easy. He was pardoned from the execution because of his actions of helping Yakuza bring them to justice as soon as he read the files Itachi had shown him, as ordered by Naruto. However, easy didn't mean scot-free, as he had to be exiled from Kyoto for 30 years. The 8-tailed Kitsune manned up to his actions and did not protest. He left without any form of defiance and admitted that he was wrong. Though this didn't lessen his sentence, it did improve standing him above the general populace. The entire ordeal was completed in less than 3 days. The remaining elders of the council, ones who were loyal to the Yakuza, so Naruto's job was pretty much over. Then the Yakuza spoke with the council and got additional terms of alliance signed without any opposition. Naruto then decided to relax in Kyoto for a while. He had taken a liking to Kanyu during his stay in the palace. She reminded him slightly of Himawari when she was at Kono's age, and Naruto decided to spend more time with her as she saw that she was quite lonely. Soon Yakuza joined in their bonding sessions, and all three of them came to enjoy time together. Now the day had come where Naruto had to leave, or so he said. Azazel asked him to meet up somewhere outside of Kyoto. Well then, this is farewell for now, said Naruto with a smile. Will you be coming back, uncle? Asked Ko with a slight amount of sadness as he was leaving so soon. Naruto grinned and rubbed her head with his hand. Of course, I will visit you the next time around these parts. Ko, who saw the way he grinned, gave a fox grin of her own with her eyes closed. It was something she picked up from Naruto. Yakuza said, "Take care, Naruto. Please return safely to your endeavors." Naruto firmly shook his head and said, "Of course, Yakuza." Yakuza had mixed feelings about Naruto leaving them. In short time they spent together, Yakuza had found the warmth and closeness in between that she had never felt before. She understood that Naruto had to leave, but did not think it would be this soon. She asked him to stay for a few more days with them, but he told her that he had something important to do and that it couldn't be delayed. Yakuza found Naruto to be good friends of hers. Though she did feel an enormous amount of gratitude towards him, it was due to his actions, and his daughter and her regime as a leader are safe. She also felt the feelings of being attracted to him. Though he wasn't exactly the definition of attractiveness with the big belly and that bushy facial hair of his, scratch that, he was very unattractive. Him being human too didn't help the matter, but he did make up for it in his warmth and charm. She was not sure if she was feeling sexual attraction or attraction wanted towards a close friend or feeling. The pair were able to feel relaxed with each other, so the Yakuza considered asking Naruto out, but her duties and her hesitation stopped her from doing so. In the end, she remained silent while watching him leave. Next time, she thought, I will confirm my feelings and ask him out the next time we meet. Naruto then lived unaware of the inner turmoil he had caused inside Yakuza's heart. Azazel asked him to meet up in the outskirts of Kyoto, so he did. He went there a meeting spot to find the fallen governor waiting for him. What took you so long? Feeling reluctant to leave a certain Kizumi's company, asked Azazel in a perverted voice. Shut up. Did you do what I asked for? Asked Naruto with a serious tone. Azazel turned his seriousness to and nodded his head. Normally, opening a pathway to a dimensional gap would require a lot of energy, as the caster doesn't know where to go. The dimensional gap doesn't exactly have coordinates to any form. Teleportation spell fails due to instability. The gap does not follow the rules of space and time. It is an erratic and dynamic. Only the three great beings can enter the area freely. Azazel then took out a small shiny cube thing in his hand. This device I have in my hand allows me to stabilize the portal by lowering energy requirements. It took me the amount of time to find the materials for making this baby. I won't go any further with the technical details. Alright then, let's do this, said Naruto. Wait a moment. We will do this after you cut yourself with nature energy, said Azazel. Naruto looked at Azazel with confusion and looked for clarification. Azazel sighed and said, the dimensional gap is outside the confines of time and space. Like I told you, it is erratic. We are beings that follow time and space, so an existence like ours cannot exist outside confines. The dimensional gap will corrode you into nothingness, coating with magic and any form of energy that will prevent the process. Naruto understood what Azazel said and said, alright, give me a moment. Naruto then slowly gathered nature chakra and entered sage mode. Azazel, who saw this happen before, is fascinated by his experience. He thought, amazing. So this is the feeling of a true sage, huh? Azazel then said, alright Naruto, I can help you get in, not out. Once you are there, you are on your own. You can only stay there as long as your nature chakra exists. Use any form of teleportation spell that you can get out. Any longer, that you will start to be slowly erased from existence. Try not to anger the big guy, alright? Naruto, who heard what Azazel said in his head, opened the portal without the device. With the device. Good luck, Naruto. Hope you will get the answers you seek. Naruto then mentally made a link with Kurama. Kurama, it's time. Let's sync. Why here? We could do it when we go inside. No, it's been made abundantly clear to me that I can't remain uninvolved in this world. It's time to then I show the being like us exist. Kurama looked at him for a moment and said, alright, let's do it. Both Naruto and Kurama synced with each other. Azazel then watched Naruto turn golden with weird lines around his body. The most significant thing about the formation of the coat was his back was pronounced whisker marks, with his eyes becoming slit orange eyes. However, Azazel didn't have the time to think, as Naruto had already entered the portal. What energy! I haven't seen that kind of power since, thought Azazel, but his communicator started acting up. Azazel, are you there? Said the voice from the communicator once it connected. Yeah, I am here, Barkyul. So you felt that? Asked Azazel, knowing what he was talking about. It came near your location. Do you know what's going on? The energy reading is off the charts. It's almost as if, said Barkyul, but was cut off by Azazel, who did it, as if it was the old man himself come back to life. I know, said Azazel. What are we if you guys don't know what they're talking about God. What are we going to do about this, Azazel? What do you know of this unknown? Is he a threat? Do we know if it's a he? Whoever it is, it's too dangerous to be left unknown. We need to investigate this properly and immediately, Azazel asked Barkyul. Leave it for now, said Azazel. But you know the person that has the power of the old man. I don't want to risk upsetting this power. If he wants to reveal himself, he will do that when he wishes. Let's not awaken a sleeping dragon to face its unnecessary wrath, said Azazel. Barkil remained silent for a few moments, contemplating what Azazel said. He then replied, "Alright, you are the boss. I don't know what you were trying to protect an old friend, but make sure that he doesn't bring trouble to our heads," said Barkil, notifying Azazel in his slip-up. Azazel, who caught on to and laughed and said, "Well, I don't know about that, Barkil, but from what I heard, trouble seems to like him. Those around him too much." Barkil replied and said, "That doesn't sound reassuring, old friend." Azazel further laughed and said, "Relax. I know what I am doing. Believe me, this guy is way more interesting than all of the devils and co combined." Dimensional gap. Naruto, who entered the dimensional gap, now asked Kurama, "What now, fuzzbutt? We spent 1% of our energy like last time to call that lizard over here. Alright, here we go." Naruto powered up and released his energy enough to cause the unnatural phenomena in a dimensional gap. They waited for a few moments until the crack opening up in front of them. "Well, he's here." They waited a moment to see the big red dragon, but couldn't see one. "Well, where is he, Kurama?" asked Naruto, looking for the big-ass red dragon. Kurama stayed silent when Naruto spoke. "Kurama?" "Naruto, look in front of you," said Kurama. Naruto then noticed that Kurama was unsolved the problem. He spoke out, "You are not Great Red. I am Orphis. You. I want you to join my group and help me defeat Great Red." It was then Naruto realized he didn't summon Great Red, but instead got another one of those three great beings, Orphis. The overpowered dragon, the Infinity Dragon, the God Lolita Dragon of DxD. Kid? Yeah? I know I already said this, but let me say this again. Fate really likes to fuck with you. "You can say it 1,000 times, and I will still agree with you," said Naruto. So that will be the end of Chapter 7 and the end of Part 6. I'm going to combine these 6 parts, or in the next part, all 7 of these parts, and make a whole entire movie so people can just watch it in all one go. So please like and subscribe. Comment down below if you did join the video. But again, I remind you to please like and subscribe. These do take a while to make. And without further ado, Spartanic, out. What's up, guys? It's your host here, Naruto DxD, back with another What If Naruto Was in High School DxD Part 7, and today we are in Chapter 8. So, thank you for all the support on this series. Hit the subscribe and like button. These do take a while. Without further ado, let's go ahead and roll right into Chapter 8. Now, there they were with Orphis, one of the great beings. Not the one they intended to summon, which was Big Red. "What now, Kurama?" asked a troubled Naruto. "I don't know, kid," said Kurama with the same amount of cluelessness as Naruto added. "Execute plan GTFO for real this time?" "What? Don't be absurd, Kurama. We need to talk with Great Red. It was your plan anyway. Why are you bailing now?" asked Naruto. "I know, kid. We don't know what this one intends of us. We can't risk making enemies when Kaguya is on the prowl," said Kurama with forethought. "We might not get another chance to speak with Great Red like this again, Kurama. I doubt Orphis will let us go either. She seems to have a plan for us, and she said our trusty blonde." While Naruto and Kurama were having their internal debate on what to do, Orphis made her presence known and said, "You will help me fight Great Red and regain my home once again." "Your home?" asked Naruto. Orphis nodded and said, "The dimensional gap is my home. I want to regain my internal silence here, but Great Red stands in my way. He needs to be killed, so you will help me along with the others in my group." Naruto heard this, looked at Kurama. Both eyed each other at the same time and said, "Yep, she's crazy. Yep, she's crazy." There were a few moments of silence. Naruto looked at Orphis with a scrutinizing eye and then made his decision and said, "Yeah, that's not happening, Orphis. I have my own problems and I require some assistance from Great Red on it," said Naruto. "What help do you require?" "I will help you and you will help me," said Orphis, not backing off. She didn't exactly know how strong Naruto was, but she definitely knew that he would be able to help her defeat Great Red all by himself. She might not even need the others in her little band. "Kurama?" asked Naruto. Kurama shook his head and said, "She may be the Dragon of Infinity, but our matter is not worth enough to fight against Great Red for her." Naruto sighed and shook his head and said, "Look, I am sorry, Orphis, but you have to find someone else to fight for you. I am not interested in fighting Great Red, so please leave me alone." Orphis looked at Naruto for a moment and judged her next move. She said, "You will not help me when I ask you politely, therefore I must convince you in a different way." She immediately attacked Naruto with one of her spells. Naruto dodged and moved away from Orphis. Kurama said to him, irritated, "Smooth talking, dumbass. Now you have done it. I specifically told you not to make any more efforts than we already have. Oi, how can I be blamed for this mess? You heard her. She's practically dead set on us helping her out," asked Naruto in equally irritated tone. This is not the time for arguing, kid. Look up front when you are battling, said Kurama. Naruto noticed the spell coming his way and dodged it. Orphis lunged forward towards her and threw some snakes from her hand. Fuck! Snakes! Why does it have to be snakes every fucking time? Focus, kid. She's charging up for a big one, said Kurama. Naruto then noticed that Orphis was charging up her magic for a big spell, thus he prepared to counter the technique with his own. Alright, time for a tailed beast bomb, said Naruto, preparing a gigantic tailed beast bomb that was ready to be fired. Orphis fired her spell at Naruto, which looked like a purple wave. Naruto fired the tailed beast bomb at the wave, resulting in an explosion threw both Orphis and Naruto off by 100 meters. This didn't stop either of them, as they both continually fired off a big destructive magic and chakra techniques. The result was a draw. Naruto was not exhausted, but the flurry of chakra techniques did not cause him to lose a little in the reserves. How is she able to continually fire that much magic? She doesn't even look like she broke a sweat. Her magic reserve shouldn't be that big, thought Naruto. Kurama sighed and said, it's not the magic reserves, it's the place we are in. Look at her closely, Naruto. Naruto did that and noticed what Kurama was talking about. He asked, is she drawing energy from this place? Kurama explained, this is her home turf, Naruto. We cannot beat her here. Anywhere else it might be easy, but the place to regain her lost energy as it closely bonded to her. Ah, damn it. At the moment, Naruto felt another energy besides him. Is that... asked Naruto. Damn red lizard shows up at the worst possible time, said Kurama. He's here, said Orphis, showing the slightest amount of negative emotion. A crack opened up beside them and came out a terrifying red dragon with 2 pairs of wings. He might not be opening his mouth to speak, but all of them were able to clearly hear what he thought. Oi, you bastards! Which one of you had the fucking nerve to interrupt my super awesome, amazingly brilliant, and extravagant stunt, huh? Tell me. Oh, it's you, Orphis, said Great Red. He had a deep, gradual voice that sounded like a male. Don't call me a casually you idiot, Red. Give me back my home, said Orphis. Nope, I love this place as much as you do. I still want to do my stunts here. If you want solitude so much, find someplace else, said Great Red. I will get this place back from you someday, said Orphis. Bah, try getting it if you can. Cry, baby Orphis, said Great Red. He then looked at Naruto and Kurama and added, why the fuck are you guys here? We had an agreement to never face each other again, didn't we, Naruto Uzumaki? We have a problem, Red. We need your help with that, said Naruto. My help? You can kiss my ass and say goodbye. I'm not helping you in any way possible, said Great Red and added. In fact, I have a score to settle with you for interrupting my stunt the second time. Orphis, you are also not getting away very easily this time, so let's fight. Great. Now what, said Naruto. Now we fight, said Kurama for that again. It's been a while since we had a good old-fashioned spar, didn't we? Shall we go out, asked Naruto. We kicked their asses. Fuck sparring energies, said Kurama. Ready to go all out? Naruto then released all of his and Kurama's power. He was able to retain the size of a fully grown 9-tailed fox and half the size of Great Red. If it's a fight you want, it's a fight you'll get, said Naruto. I don't want to fight in this battle since you are not going to allow me to go outside without one, said Orphis, but she was no longer holding back. She started it to change as her clothes disappeared with a bright light. She was transforming into a big dragon until she retained the same size as Naruto and Kurama. She looked at the huge snake with black scales, then its shrine purple illuminated. She had a single pair of wings and 2 pair of short limbs. I am going to kill you now. Orphis and Naruto then charged at Great Red. Unusual for his size, though, Great Red was moving equally fast. All 3 of them involved in a terrifying smackdown. Naruto was tailed beast bombs at Great Red, while Orphis was using her magic at him. Great Red flinched when some of the attacks had him, and he turned serious. Alright, now you guys have done it, said Great Red. Well, the guy's officially pissed off. Careful, Naruto, said Kurama, warning Naruto of the huge laser beam that came his way. Naruto, who noticed it, dodged, and his hair and his breath inside, like it was only by an inch. Great Scott, that was way too close for comfort, said Naruto, intimidating form and relieved tension. Yeah, though it seems that Orphis isn't as lucky as we are, said Kurama. Orphis got hit by the laser beam, backed off, but she slowly started to regenerate the wounds. Naruto then fired another tailed beast bomb at Great Red, but then just passed right through him. What the? Naruto wasn't given any time to think, as of Great Red swept him away. It did a lot of damage to him, breaking all of his ribs, but when he was Kurama's chakra mode, he was able to regenerate quite easily. What the hell was that? That's why I am called the Dragon of Dreams. I am the dragon who mocks the concept of reality. I turn reality into fantasy and fantasy into reality, said Great Red. This time he charged more than 10 laser beams at Naruto and fired simultaneously. The fuck? Does that mean anything he thinks or dreams will become real? Fuck, that's way too OP. He was not this serious last time we faced, said Naruto with a pale face. He continued to dodge the laser attacks fired at him, but the last one made his way into him. Kuruma's chakra construct was able to take the attack. It was still considerably large damage on Naruto. Great Red then attacked again, but this time Great Being used a bunch of mortal spells, greatly amplified with his magic power. Naruto used a bunch of elemental chakra techniques to counter them, but all of them turned useless as Great Red just turned them from reality to illusion. Naruto dodged the techniques, range, and time. He couldn't find a weakness and just panicked. Shit, what do I do? Do I have to use Six Paths mode already, thought Naruto? Now is not the time to panic, Brack. Every technique has a weakness. Didn't we already face another one like this? How did we beat that kid, Obito? Asked Kurama while advertising Naruto on how to act using Itachi's word philosophy. Obito. That was different. He was using a spatial distortion to avoid our attacks. The only way we could beat him, said Naruto. He turned aside in the second half. He smiled at Kurama and proceeded to attack her. Yet, he made a bunch of shadow clones and all of them launched a grenade with the same amount of Kurama's chakra. I already told you it's useless. Any and all attacks I see are ineffective on me, said Great Red. The clones who went in automatically dispelled, but the one of them managed to throw kunai in near Great Red's eye. Great Red merely dodged it by thinking upon it was an illusion and had passed through. Naruto and Great Red repeated the process several times and exchanged a couple of blows with their fists. Naruto was now slightly exhausted as he used up 20% of his reserves. Great Red didn't break a sweat though, he was firing laser beams using energy to amplify the power of his arms. Naruto figured that it had to be because of the place they were in, just like an earlier battle with Orpheus. Cease resisting. The last time we fought was merely a formal spar. This time I'm fighting you seriously, so prepare to die for real, said Great Red and moved his claws forward to grab Naruto. Naruto waited over there in a defensive position, ready to dodge, but also started charging up a tailed beast bomb. He then thought, now. He fired a tailed beast bomb at Great Red, who did the same thing with the attack again. However, when he thought that he dodged the attack, he felt the blow on many spaces near his torso and neck. What the? Thought Great Red. It was then he noticed that there were 6 great purple balls fired from 6 different Narutos at the different locations from behind. The problem with your technique is that you need to see the attacks coming at you for you to judge it to be an illusion. Your manipulation of a fantasy and reality can be for a short duration as it's only applicable on inanimate objects, said Naruto. Great Red, who took major damage from the attacks, looked at him and laughed, and he said, "Ha ha ha, you got me good this time, Naruto Uzumaki. You have my respect. However, you were wrong on one part. It's not only inanimate objects, but I can manipulate the reality of living objects too," said Great Red, phasing an Orpheus through him, who came to slash her claws at the time and roared. Naruto saw the coming Orpheus, dodged her and grabbed her by the neck and threw her away. However, you are not the only person in this world who I cannot control, as you were never born from this universe naturally. The way you came here was breaking the laws of fantasy and reality, so I cannot do anything with you. My control goes as far as the laws hold. However, for Orpheus, said Great Red, and this time took damage from Orpheus' surprise giant laser attack that cut through one of his wings. Ah, said Great Red, and attacked at Orpheus. Orpheus dodged his attack and gave him a beam of her own. She saw the attack was phased and that she was right in the middle of being clawed by Great Red. She blocked her front with her hands and wings, preparing to block an attack, and prepared some shielding spells just in case. However, the attack never came. Instead, Naruto was in front of her, holding back Great Red by his wings. "Why did you help me?" asked Orpheus. "Because this battle is unnecessary," said Naruto. "What are you talking about, Naruto Uzumaki? I haven't had this much fun in ages. We're going to continue this battle to the end," said Great Red with a battle frenzy while getting away from Naruto's grip. Why does he crave battle so much now? He was very docile and wanted to do this as stunts in peace in the beginning. What made him change? Thought Naruto. Kurama answered him. "Dragons are beings of great power. The tailed beast may be different, but beings of power always yearn for a good battle, just like me and my siblings. Is that right? Speaking of which, the others are napping pretty soundly. We cannot hear them outside, said Naruto. And that's a link. We are here, Naruto. We have been awake for quite a while, said now active Manabe. Ah, Manabe, if you guys are awake, then why didn't you guys say so? I could have used your help here, said Naruto. We were just not bothered with it. You seemed like you could handle it by yourself. Besides, you were not going all out, said Son Goku. Well, you have a point, said Naruto, but now that he saw it must come to an end, seems I must have to put a stop to this, said Naruto. He released his Kurama Chakra Sage mode and came back in his basic Sage mode. He accessed the 6 paths mode, and he once again his blazing golden coat with 9 Makataros on his back. His whisker marks were pronounced once again, and weird marks encircled his body. However, this time, he manifested 6 black balls that levitated around his back and had 2 black rods in his hand. It was at this moment that both great beings felt confused. They had saw that he had turned smaller and began to assume he turned to a weaker form. They didn't feel any power coming off him. Great Red turned and, annoyed at this, shouted, Naruto, what are you doing, Naruto Uzumaki? Bring back your earlier form. I want to have a good fight when I'm far up, said Great Red. Orpheus remained silent and contemplated. She wasn't stupid and thoughtless. Unlike Great Red, who was in a battle frenzy, she knew that Naruto wouldn't have accessed this form without a reason. Naruto merely looked at Great Red with a static face and said, I don't have any more time to play with you, Great Red, so let's end this fight. He then looked at Orpheus and said, I don't know what's going on between you and Red over here, and I frankly don't care. You are to end this now. Bah! Who are you to end our fight? You have pretty big nerve talking like that, mortal, said Great Red, who lunged at Naruto right at him. Naruto merely looked at the attack and stopped him with merely one hand. He then grabbed Great Red and threw him off. What the fuck? Great Red wasn't even given enough time to think as Naruto continuously attacked him from all places. He created shaklins that did the same. It was like looking at a group of bullies grouping on a poor side, and here the poor side being Great Red. Great Red wasn't even given a chance to get back up. Naruto then lunged forward with the rod. Great Red thought that he could dodge all the inanimate object. However, it was useless as the rod still hit him with a great force, making him fly miles away from his original position. How did that rod hit me? I thought that it was an object. It should still obey the laws of reality, thought Great Red. Naruto, who heard Great Red's thoughts, explained, This rod is made of the balls behind me. They are called Truth Seeker balls. They are made of energy called chakra. They are made of pure energy. Energy still obeys the laws of reality. We may not see it, but it manifests into other many forms that we perceive as real. How in this world is that thing able to harm me? Asked Great Red with anger and fear in his tone. Naruto answered, It is energy, yes, but the energy is given a stable form. It erases all kinds of matter that it touches. It is not bound by the laws of physics. By the laws of physics. It already breaks it by existing. Don't you see the utter blackness? That is because its existence is a contradiction. He then threw all 6 Truth Seeker balls at Great Red's wings, which managed to penetrate his, forming various holes in its body. It was the first time ever since birth that Great Red was truly scared of his existence. That being utterly scared at a mortal that wielded the power to end his existence. Naruto satirically laughed and looked at Great Red and asked, Now that you have finally witnessed my power, do you still want to fight? I have already proven that I could kill you right here and now. It seems that you are a waste of time, doesn't it? Great Red could not dumbly at what Naruto said. He thought to himself, fuck being brave. I don't want to die just because I pissed off a guy for a petty reason. Naruto then looked at Orpheus and said, I have neither problems with you nor do I have any business with you, Orpheus, so let's stop fighting, shall we? Orpheus could just dumbly nod her head, just like Great Red. Alright then, let's wrap this up, shall we? Naruto then added, However, I do have some questions that need to be answered, Great Red. Great Red then sighed and said, Though I don't like it, you are right. I am indeed the one that will draw the short end of the stick if I continue to fight you. Dragons are beings that respect those who are equally strong or stronger than themselves. I, Great Red, give you my deepest respect, Master Uzumaki. I hope you forgive me for my previous transgressions. Great Red bowed his head towards Naruto. Naruto just grinned and waved it off. Forget the formalities with me, Red. Just call me Naruto. Let bygones be bygones. It's never too late to start as friends, ain't it? Great Red, who saw this, give a nod and grin of his own. He was rather impressed with the humility that Naruto showed if he was stronger than himself. It was a trait that he liked about Naruto. He then said, As you wish, my friend. So what do you need? Said Great Red. Well, you see, I have a problem. A troublesome woman from my world who somehow made it over here. The last time I checked, I sealed her in another dimension with no way or out. though somehow she was able to break it. My friend who is inside of me, Kurama, has a suspicion and wanted to check with you. Alright then, what's the question? Naruto turned silent and closed his eyes. The moment he reopened his eyes, his eyes had turned to slit eyes of a fox. He then said in a deep gradual voice, "Great Red, this is Kurama. I am talking to you by possessing Naruto's body," said Kurama. Great Red nodded and motioned Kurama to continue. Kurama then took his cue and asked, "Could you kindly check out the space we entered when we first met you? I and Naruto do not know the exact place we entered from into this world, as only the final coordinates are unknown to us. The rest are all a blur after you sent us on our way." Great Red nodded and said, "Alright, I know of that area. Let me bring you there." All of them were transported to that area by Great Red, who opened a portal. However, the place they entered was not the same as before. There was a huge black hole present in the area of drawing everything. "It's just as I thought," said Kurama. "What do you mean?" Kurama asked a confused Naruto. "Thank you, Great Red. I want to explain to Naruto about what happened here," said Kurama, switching back to Naruto. Naruto, who had come back to control, asked Great Red, "So you do know of the problem, Great Red. What is the black hole over there? Is that a place that we came through?" Great Red nodded and answered, "Yes. It is indeed the space you entered from. When you entered this universe, you caused a hole in the space-time continuum. This caused an efflux of dark energy into your universe, creating a field of intense gravitational energy that attracts other forms of energy to attain equilibrium once again." Naruto silently nodded. He read the various books explaining the space-time continuum when he entered this world and thought it may give him some ideas on the horizon. However, then he had a problem. "Wait, if you are saying the black hole over there is trying to reach equilibrium on this side, then won't it be the same case for the other side? Why is it my world affected? How come Itachi and the others are still alive and somewhat safe? How is Itachi able to make through to this universe?" Great Red continued, "It might be the case that whatever method you used had allowed you to travel to a different dimension before you came upon the universal wall, if we can term it that way. It means that your world becomes unaffected in return for the dimension where you broke the wall being the one that's affected. Now, that brings us to another question. Why does the black hole exist? It should be highly unstable, right?" asked Naruto. He knew that newly born black holes are never meant to be this stable, as he noticed some small planets still existing near them. Under normal conditions, they should be pulled towards it and crushed by the intense gravitational force exhibited by it. You're right, under normal circumstances, this place already closed up. However, it seems a particular condition has arisen in the case. "What?" asked Naruto with a bewildered face. "It seems that this one in the place where you entered had equal amounts of dark energy nearby. Lucky coincidence, maybe. I guess it attributes to the fact that there is not much matter in the space as there is on your end. An equal amount of matter and energy is flowing in and out of these black holes, stabilizing them. It has achieved a state of dynamic equilibrium." "Wait, doesn't that mean," asked Naruto with a very biased look, "Yep, you have accidentally built a stable portal to your universe connecting two alternate realities. You could travel back if you want, as the portal is highly stable and thus allowing beings to travel into your world. However, that is only possible when you reduce the amount of power you have to 1% to the travel into without destabilizing the portal, meaning you have to be highly exhausted like the state you were in when you entered this world." "Guys, are you awake?" asked Naruto. "Yes, we are, Naruto. We heard everything. It makes a lot of sense now," said Gyuki. "We always wondered why we were not as exhausted as Kurama when we traveled to this world. It most likely seems that we were traveling here when the portal was still unstable. We expended a lot of energy, and it was even more likely that we have stabilized the portal. Otherwise, we couldn't exist here," said Gyuki. "He may not even be an expert with time-space theory like Kurama, who has spent years of learning it, but the elementary knowledge on the subject. It seems you guys were insanely lucky," said Kurama. "Agreed," said Sengoku, refuting the statement. "That still doesn't explain why Kaguya was able to escape the seal or enter this world," said Naruto. "My theory is plausible now, brat. Great Red has already confirmed what I needed," said Naruto. "So let's hear it. You were avoiding the subject for so long, I thought you were merely guessing," asked Naruto. Kurama narrowed his eyes and answered, "Basically, us coming to this world was a huge mistake." Huh? Asked Naruto with a confused expression. When we are breaking through the universal barrier, the energy we release gets converted into a form of radiations like light. Heat, or those things that humans call UV rays or infrarays or gamma rays. My theory is that one of these rays, which hold a particular frequency, was able to resonate with a seal we made on Kaguya. Therefore, the resonance caused by damage to the seal thus was a crack in the closed dimension. Kaguya noticed this crack and continuously released energy to make it even bigger, and ultimately she was able to break free, allowing her to escape, said Naruto, coming to the same conclusion as Kurama. He understood the situation completely. Fuck, you are right. This whole thing is my fucking screw up, isn't it? Said Naruto, forming an exasperated face. And now you know, said Kurama with an equally exasperated tone. Oh gosh, damn it, thought Naruto, clenching his head. It was his own selfish actions that caused an old enemy to break free. Great Red, who noticed Naruto's reaction, could only wonder what was going on. Naruto came back in reality, then thought, forget it. No use driveling about the past. Must focus on the present, thought Naruto, addressed Great Red. I have my answer now. Thank you very much. It helped me understand a lot of stuff, said Naruto, bowing his head. Great Red waved his hand off and said, it's nothing. A small favor for a friend, that is. Naruto grinned and said, well, it seems that you are an all right for a good friend, Red. Naruto then turned serious and told Great Red, look, Red, I have to be honest with you. The troublesome woman who came to this universe is that above me in terms of power level. I am almost near her in a way, but I am still, it would be a tough battle if I were to battle her for myself. I don't know where she is, but there is a chance you may be in danger. Great Red, there are no words to describe Great Red's feelings of insecurities right now. He already had to deal with one being that could kill him, but now he hears that there is another such being like that. He did not know what to do. He turned himself into a human like Orpheus and said, Naruto, my friend, my homie, my main man, please tell me you will protect me from this woman. I am already shitting my imaginary pants. Please tell me you will do something. Please, said Great Red, abandoning all shame and grabbing Naruto's ties. Naruto asked Kurama and the other guys, are you seeing this, or am I just dreaming? Kurama responded as if he was seeing a movie. Yes, the strongest being in this universe is hugging your thighs and begging for protection like a princess in distress. Well, it looks like those things that humans call gay porn, if you ask me, said Manabe. Naruto stumbled and asked, what in the actual fuck, Manabe? Why would you say that? Well, in my position, it looks like his head is directly situated over your crotch, so, said Manabe while blushing a little. I don't know where you learned that, but I will tell you this. This is absolutely... holy fucking shit, said Naruto when he a Great Red was in. It was Manabe. It was as Manabe said it was. Naruto then screamed, God, get off me, Great Red. No, not unless you give me your word. Or Naruto, it looked exasperated and said, fuck, alright, I'll protect you. Now just get out of my crotch and let me go, you big lizard. Great Red finally let go. He turned static, but intentionally, he was dancing joyfully, thinking about his sex tactic, and had yielded. It was a thing that he learned from the humans. When thou want someone to help you without hesitation, they must grab the thighs and never let go until they say so. They must be shameless as though they can be the ultimate bitch. Truly words of wisdom, thought Great Red while wiping his sweat trickled down his forehead. Naruto didn't know why he got an urge to punch the buffoon. However, he got a proper look at the humanized dragon. The man looked about to be 6'8" in height, which is pretty tall comparing the world's standards. He had a buff body to compensate for the height. All in all, he looked like an absolute giant. The man had red hair like his scales, and he had a chiseled face that was tanned out but not too much. He could have been mistaken for a Gremory if it wasn't for the fact that a slit crimson eyes and purple pupils. He was wearing a traditional purple European shirt and pants along with a red tailcoat over him. He had an air dominance around him, and it was kind of reclusive around Naruto. Naruto took in his appearance and said, why didn't you take this form when you were talking to me before? Great Red said, well, the appearance of mine is kind of a drag. I don't like it as much as it confines my freedom and movement. Naruto then sighed and said once again, continuing where he left off, well then, like I was telling you, the woman is rather troublesome, but she is more likely to be weak right now, as she had a lot of energy to break her prison, so I assume she's hiding and regaining her strength. He continued, I doubt she has any form of interest in you as her main concern in my world and its people, so I doubt you will be targeted. However, if you do face her, I want you to be extra careful, alright? Just run into another dimension where she couldn't follow you. Naruto then described Kaguya to Great Red. He told her about the techniques she uses and how she can avoid her. Great Red nodded in his head and gave a thumbs up. Alright, thanks for the information. I will contact you if I spot her anywhere near me. Naruto nodded at his words and further added, well then, I guess we can wrap it up for now. I do have another thing though. I will be staying here to train in this area and regain my top form. As you can see, my movements were a little bit stiff and I need to be battle ready if I want to fight her head on. Great Ren said, of course. You can use this area however you want. If you want a sparring partner or anyone to talk to you, just call me whatever you did before. I will be here in a jiffy. Though I hate to admit I lost, it was kind of fun battling against you. Naruto gave Great Red a grin and said, thanks, Red, much appreciated. Great Red then turned back to his old size and left. Naruto, where to start? Said Naruto out loud. If you want to train, I can help you, said a voice. Naruto then turned to Orphis and he first saw. She was standing there with a static face. Orphis had silently watched an entire conversation between Great Red and Naruto without voicing anything. To say that she was surprised by a lot of things Naruto said and did was an understatement. Damn, I forgot about her the entire time. Well, this girl is saying that she can help us. Let's ask her out, said Kurama. Good question. Alright, Orphis, how are you going to help us? Asked Naruto. If I understood what you were talking about with Idiot Red correctly, then you need some time to get back into shape, don't you? Naruto stayed silent. Orphis continued. I can give you that time. I can use my powers to reduce the speed of time in a particular space I created so that you can use the train however you want, said Orphis. She then further added, however, I have given you my blessing. I have to give you my blessing for you to be affected by this. Naruto remained silent and thinking about an offer on the table before he wanted to say, no, Kurama Red, kid, accept the deal. What? Why? The space-time continuum here is pretty erratic and the dimensional gap flowing at different rates. Though not much of a difference from what I understand by some of the clones you left in the main world, an hour may be 10 there, and an hour there may be 10 here. That is if we go by the maximum range. It's not constant. If Orphis creates a field where it made constant, then it's perfect for us as we know the exact time we need to leave. We will be able to understand and use our time efficiently, said Kurama. The blessing? It can be erased with 6 paths mode, even if I can't do it. You know you have to do it. Naruto understood what Kurama was talking about. He left some clothes in the real world. He left some clones in the real world under the orders of Kurama. Now that he finally understood the use for them, he came to the decision and said, alright, Orphis, say we accept your offer. What do you want in return? I want you to join my army. However, I realize that I am not in the position to demand you as you are much stronger than I am. I will still help you regardless, said Orphis in a rare bout of maturity. Naruto was bewildered and asked, why do you want me to help even though you know that I won't help you in return? Orphis said in a mature tone and in a childish way of answering as she did before. You interest me, Naruto Uzumaki. I help you because you interest me. You did not need to patiently listen to me when I demanded you, yet you still did. You did not need to help me when Great Red attacked, yet you did. I feel a sense of respect and gratitude that I need to repay. This I'm going to do the best way I think is possible for me. Naruto, who heard this, was slightly embarrassed, as he knew that she meant nothing by it, but it was still a compliment. All forms of suspicion were thrown out of the window when Orphis said that Naruto made a decision. Alright, Orphis, I accept your offer. I won't most definitely join your army, but once my issue is dealt with, I can promise you that I will help you and Great Red come to a compromise. Orphis, who heard this promise, offered Naruto a ghost of a smile and nodded her head. Alright then, let's do this. Orphis then started casting her magic. Once she has done creating a field, Naruto her blessing over one of her snakes to say that Naruto was not in the tiniest bit reminded of Orochimaru's curse mark on Sasuke was a terrible mistake. Fuck, this is exactly like that pedophile's curse mark, thought Naruto. You still haven't forgiven that snake, have you? Asked Kurama. Of course. I still don't like that bastard. The only reason I let him be was that he promised me that he won't harm any humans. Besides, he did help out with some problems of the village with his research, said Naruto. I've always wondered what that snake's genders was. Is he a man or a woman? Asked Kurama. Beats me. I asked this kid Mitsu the same in detail, but he is not sure. All I know for sure is that he's a creepy old dude in a young body, said Naruto. Haha. Well, you have no right to complain in that regard, said Naruto. Yeah, fuck you too, asshole, dipshit, fuzzbutts, Sasuke's little ball boy. The fuck was that, you furball with daddy issues? Say that again, Brad, I dare you. I said it once already, furball. Seems your rabbit ears are not helping you hear it. Grr, come here, you little shit. It's about time I teach you some manners. Oh yeah, it's about time I discipline you, you disobedient furball. Here we go again, said Matabi. Well, it happens all the time. I guess humans call it brotherly love, said Chiyomi. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, said Kiki. All of them entered the subdimensional space with the internal discussion slash fight was going on in Naruto's mind. Naruto had entered back in reality in a few moments of time. He then saw Orpheus, who looked at him. Orpheus explained, "The time here is much slower than outside the world. I have decided to reduce it by 8 times as the maximum limit within space can hold without breaking apart. So 8 months inside would only be a month in a human world." "Thank you, Orpheus," said Naruto. So in reality, I just want to put this out here, it's basically like the time chamber from Dragon Ball. Orpheus accepted the gratitude and said, "I may not have mentioned this before, but I also have another reason to help you." Naruto looked at her with a curious expression. Orpheus continued, "Although I do not want to help you out of gratitude, I also want to continue my own existence. If this lady you speak and describe is more powerful than you, who is already more powerful than me, then I have 0% chance to survive if she decides to target me. Thus, I believe that I want to help you in every way I can." She added further, "I am leaving this space now. You can train here in peace. You can enter this place anytime you want to do so. I have given permission for only you and myself to access this place, and no one else will disturb you. Farewell, Naruto Uzumaki." Orpheus then left the space without further interaction. "So she's scared, huh?" thought Naruto. "She is a being that has existed in this world since the beginning. She has lived a life facing no threats to her life. That is illogical for her to fear death when there exists a being that can kill her," said Kurama. "Never mind her. We have a goal now. Since this space was created by Orpheus, we don't need to worry about the limit for using energy to continuously stay here. You can release the chakra mode and train normally," said Naruto. "Yeah, that's true. I'm going to use this opportunity I got to its fullest potential. I already have food supplies and training materials to last several years, so I don't think I am going to have any problems with this change of plans," said Naruto, who performed a cross-hand sight. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. Nearly 1,000 clones were created in an instant with Naruto's chakra. He then organized each group of clones and had them all train of the shinobi art forms, may it be the basic chakra control, or making new seals, or mastering new elemental jutsu. While they did that, Naruto did his best to reduce his body weight as much as he can. He continuously exercised like Rock Lee till his bones broke and his muscles tore. Kurama then healed with him with his chakra, then Naruto restarted the process 7 months and 29 days later, so it's a time skip. Naruto was training like crazy in the spatial field. He had finally stopped doing so when an alarm clock went off on his phone. "I still don't understand how these little beauties work," said Naruto. "It's not better to question some things you don't understand," Naruto said Kurama. "Well, it's the last day, so let's just relax," said Naruto, ending his training. Naruto had changed a lot. He was a lot fitter, and he finally lost all forms of fat on his body. He now had an athlete's body with the compact muscles. If one sees Naruto now they definitely wouldn't be able to relate with him. Naruto took out a mirror and a bag. He looked at himself and said, "Fuck, look at that beard. I look like a guy, what's his name? Osama bin Laden. It's Osama bin Laden. Your beard is long. So, is your hair long on your head?" said Kurama. Naruto looked like a wild man, covering up his face. Naruto immediately formed a shadow clone and instructed it to cut his hair. The clone did so. He first cut his hair and then shaved his beard on his face. Naruto unclothed himself and created a small pub out of wood style. He then asked the clone to use water style to shower him, and he created another clone and instructed it to fill the tub with water and heat it. The clones did so, and finally Naruto relaxed in the bath. Once he cleansed himself, Naruto made his way out of the tub and took a while to dry himself. He then took some spare clothes underneath with a black Anbu pants and red shinobi sandals. Now then, with that hair out of the way, his face looked much more cleaner. It looked oval, brimming with energy. His whisker marks were not noticeable before, as his facial hair looked much more visible due to his completely shaving his beard. His hair has retained its length during his teenage years. He looked much more like his father than he ever did before. "Well, looking sharp, Naruto, though the things you were wearing are kind of over the top," said Manabe, giving Naruto fashion advice. "Well, I didn't have any other clothes on me. This is all I had. Plus, it's not over the top. I just look fabulous," said Naruto. Once an idiot, always an idiot," said Kurama. "Oi, enough, brat. Let's just get out of here. We've been training long enough sufficiently." Yeah, Naruto in training took time working hard like he never did before. He hadn't given this much time to train ever in his life than other training with Triple Jiraiya. He sparred with tail beasts and mastered each chakra nature to the terrifying degree. The Mokun ability that he was never able to master, he mastered it completely. He then gained the ability from the Hashirami cells that Sakura used to regenerate his arm. He was able to unlock the ability as Madara did in the later half of his size, as he hadn't trained his techniques that deeply because he gained it just as he lost Hinata. However, now this was a different case. Orpheus stopped by the time to help him. Great Red also accompanied him for some time, and he had access to all dimensions in unreality. So he was the one exception to Orpheus's rule. He was able to. He was confident that he was a level now. He packed his materials and sealed and nodded. All right, let's return. He then formed a hand sign that flashed in a form of yellow. Back to Ko Academy. Naruto decided to enter the ORC building at first to greet everyone, but it seems the ORC already had visitors. Naruto flashed outside and knocked on the door and entered. Hey everyone, I am... Oh, it seems I am interrupting on something, said Naruto, looking at a couple of faces. He noticed a bunch of beautiful young girls in various outfits surrounding a blonde-haired man in a flashy white shirt that screamed, "Hey, I sell cocaine. Want to buy a pack?" Nearby was an adult lady that stood out. She had silver hair and a voluptuous body. Oddly, though, Naruto noticed that she was dressed in a blue maid outfit. She looks hot, thought Naruto. Hello there. It seems I am interrupting something, so I will come back at a later time, said Naruto, turning to leave the room. Though the man in white did not allow Naruto to leave and fired a spell at the door, he then impatiently asked Naruto, "Who the hell are you, human? How dare you interrupt Riser's meeting with the lovely Rias? Announce yourself." Naruto did not lose his cool at an arrogant behavior of the one called Riser and said, "Who, me? I am nobody important. I am Naruto Uzumaki, just a gardener hired by the school. The important question here is, though," said Naruto, slowly moved towards the Gremory group. He stood in the middle of Redhead's barrage along with Konako. He tense head with his hand relaxing on her stiff shoulders and continued talking. "Who the hell are you, chicken shit?" And that wraps up chapter 8. I know this chapter was fucking awesome, okay, and I cannot wait to read chapter 9 and post it. So thank you for all the support on this series, and this is probably going to be like a 30-minute video. So again, please like and subscribe. These take forever to make, and I love talking about them. So without further ado, Spartanic Arts DxD out.